Oh, no. They give him so much respect. He's going! Jensen's going in! Oh, he actually gets in Medios with the smite down on Elder.
Smite picked up there by Smite. Scare doesn't even need the smite. And the fight is on. Gallia over the top. Oh, my gosh. Just kidding. Takes one down. Plus the shot of Starbuck is amazing.
Hello everyone and welcome to Monday Night League. I hope you have had a fantabulous day and are looking forward to capping it off with some LCS action. And to join us in doing so, we've got my best buds. We got Mark Z, we got Prawley. I mean, wait, can you have multiple best buds? Are y'all in that camp?
I don't believe you can, so
I mean,
I'll go out of the way and make it not awkward. Prawley's not my best bud.
Yeah.
What?
He's not mine either.
Yeah.
What can I do to get you both to compete to be my best bud on Monday Night
Just
League?
agree that I won the draft that's coming up.
Yeah, he needs all the help.
I need all the I need some support.
It's okay.
Well, in the meantime, you have a little preview of what's to come, but let's go ahead and take a look at how the teams are currently ranking. Because while Cloud9 is still sitting there at the top with 0 defeats under their belt, 6 wins for them, no more in the completely defeated column down there at the bottom.
Nope, no winless teams, which is always great to see. The surprise is still Team Liquid below 500 record. It just, my brain can't process that.
Yeah, it is really weird to see that many losses for Team Liquid. Like, I think that's the amount of losses they had, like, the entire last split. That's like a split worth of losses for them, but they already have it.
Though there were multiple within that kind of middle pack. We'll see if any of that shifts after today. Because for the schedule, first up, it is going to be our Team Liquid match against Golden Guardians, followed by Counter Logic Gaming and Immortals. CLG looking to pick up their second win of the day, or rather, the week in the entirety of the split. But a reminder for everyone that after our matches today, we are going to be going over to the Bud Light League Lounge, where Riv and Ovely, she's back, baby, will be kicking back with Golden Glue and Keith to wrap up the week. It's been really cool being able to see the personalities kind of coming out of the players that have joined us over in the lounge. Any planned appearances from you two?
It's tough. I do have an obligation after the show.
Obligation means something good,
With
right?
Travis Gafford, yeah.
Nice.
You know.
I know. You really want it.
I'll try and wrangle Probably at one point, but in the meantime, let's turn towards our first matchup of the day, because we've got one of probably the most dramatic mismatches when it comes to a specific role, and that's going to be support, but also the teams themselves, because Core JJ, and then on the opposite side of Keith, you have a world championship in the role on one end, and not just 2 months of practice on the other.
Right, and these are all-time stats for Core JJ. So when you see that 7th next to kill participation, you need to realize that's all-time supports in LCS.
Yeah, that's
not 7th out of 10.
Yeah, it's 9 out of 10.
That's 7 out of 50, 100, I don't know how many there are. And so he is the most prolific support in North American history, basically. He's a world champion, like you're saying. And so when people see role swap from Keith, you know, I think people want to naturally draw that comparison to Core JJ, but it's just not a fair comparison.
Yeah, I mean, I like the idea that, you know, they were both 80 carries, so they have like similar backgrounds. But I will say, when Core JJ made this swap, he had a much different roster surrounding him than Keith.
Samsung?
Did. Yeah, Samsung was a little different level compared to Keith.
Yeah, and so Keith's struggling in his first split. These are not all time. These are the current split ones. And so you just see he's struggling to get his footing in the league right now, and that's why I say it's unfair to give that comparison, like you're saying. That's because it's not just Core JJ is a successful role swap. Yeah. He's the most successful role swap in history, aside from maybe Ambition, right? Like, that's not a fair comparison.
But it's still more, I don't know, there's something about it because it's also playing in Korea and then coming to NA and like the success being maintained.
Yeah.
It's like another level of difficulty I don't think many people can really brag about.
Exactly. A lot of imports come over and struggle, and Core JJ was a world champion in Korea, best North American support all time.
And if you take the value of the stats out of it, the fact that one of them is a set of the all-time stats for a player, and then the other one just within 2 months, there's so much that changes just because of time alone. So this matchup almost feels like it shouldn't be a thing.
Yeah, it's like 2 months of a role swap, too. Yeah. It's not like this is a year in Keith's career of a role swap. This is 2 months. It doesn't feel like a fair matchup. It shouldn't be a thing.
Yeah, it's pretty difficult, too, because like it's not just like their team is doing okay, and then he's a new support coming in. It's like their whole team is actually struggling as well.
Yeah.
So struggling team, he's only got a couple of months under his belt, and then now he's playing against, you know, Team Liquid, who has a couple of titles now. It's like, yeah, it's pretty difficult.
We're talking so much about the man himself, and when it comes to the pressure that he's facing, no player knows the role better and how to run with the Reddit punches than Keith himself.
I was perfectly prepared when swapping that if the team were to do well, I'd probably take most of the blame, which I'm okay with. I think the thing I'm not okay with is when I perform really poorly, that just lets my team down. That's the thing I'm most concerned of. I don't really care about getting flamed on Reddit. I feel like I have too much experience with that to be affected by it by now. So it's really just whether my team, if I feel like I let my team down or not. So I'm just gonna keep working to make sure that doesn't happen.
That's why I want, just those kinds of responses are why I want to shift the focus a little bit off of just, oh, Keith is at a support, and what got us here, because every time I see Keith, he's giving the right answers. Even in that video that Golden Guardians released about their offseason, which if you haven't seen, go watch that. It's very enlightening. He's like, you guys got to be patient with me. What are you expecting? You want me just to be okay in lane? I can try that, but it's going to take time. You know, I need 2 months. You're giving me 2 months to get ready for this. And in that interview as well, you know, saying, I don't care about Reddit or people's perception of me. I want to do what the team wants and what they need out of me. And the team asked him to do this, and it feels like he's willing to step up, but it's not like he was really given a fair shot to begin with. He's basically getting crucified when he didn't have a chance to do anything.
I mean, he's being put through the ringer for sure, but I do like the approach he's had, especially where I think he's expecting it's not going to be great at the start. You got to give me time. And I know he was predicting the Reddit problems and social media kind of pressure. But I like that he has experience in it, so now it's a little bit roll with it a lot.
He has more experience with Reddit than playing support, right?
That's true, yeah.
It's like if you ask me for a role swap comparison to go host like Gabby's doing because she's sick or unavailable, I couldn't do it just because I sit here and give my thoughts. Reading prompter for 30 minutes straight and not flubbing lines is totally different. And so I feel like it's so ridiculous how much hate he's getting. Compared to questioning why he's there in the first place. And I think that's where more of it should go when this guy has not been given a fair chance. There's even Huhi, who's been a role swap support longer in their own system, and they left him in Academy because they're like, oh, the support pool in North America is so bad. Let's role swap Keith and throw him in there. And it's, I can't, the results are not there to vouch for that decision so far.
No, I mean, role swapping in general is pretty difficult. I would say maybe support would be arguably the easiest. But it's still it's not easy at all. This is not a plug and play game where you can just
Oh, you played AD? Go play support. It's that easy.
It's way more difficult than you think.
When we talked so much about the impact of that behind the scenes video that we saw early on with Golden Guardians, and really haven't heard that much from them directly on the topic since then. So I think it's about time that we change that. Let's hear more from Golden Guardians by catching up with Anero, because we got some words from him before these games.
Yeah, so we obviously have like different expectations for all the players coming in. As we referenced on the video picking up Keith, those expectations are obviously going to be like measured to the point where he is an off-role support. That's not to say that Keith can get away with doing anything he wants, but in terms of like learning the role and knowing where he needs to be, we expected that to take some time for sure. And in terms of laning with what we're doing with Keith, he's been doing really well in that part. That was something we kind of like really focused on in Korea. And that's definitely not the like detriment in our game right now, especially with how short laning phase is at the moment, with a lot of teams doing a flip. So he still definitely struggled with things that are happening later in the game, which obviously the community loves to meme at with the deaths and everything. But those aren't necessarily always just Keith either. There's a lot of things on our team that we're having to fix and focusing on. And Keith, like the first few weeks, is playing like TK. So someone messes up, he goes in and eats them. Good luck, Keith. You're dying for them instead. But no, he's getting better at it. A lot of it was more due to team play issues where we're saying one thing and then wanting to do another in the last moment. And Keith's committed himself up there to do that, and he dies for that. So we're definitely still like backing Keith and looking to help support him through it. Like I said, this doesn't mean that Keith can just like end and we're not going to replace him. You know, that's the same for everyone on the team. We made sure to try to have an academy team that can still contest with their main team so that everyone feels pressured in some way to still perform. So it's not like there's any way we can say for sure what is going to happen, but I'm still supporting Keith as long as he's showing like progress and like staying committed to the team.
So considering we've kind of been waiting here for a while to hear some of these words, how satisfied are you with that answer?
Decently. I think it was all the, the right stuff about he does need to perform. He doesn't get a free pass, but he is a little bit more lenient with Keith given the situation that he's in. And I would say I would have liked to know that like they said we're still backing him, but like how close is this matching their expectations? Are they behind schedule, ahead of schedule? Like some of those questions I still have because I can't imagine sitting with their record right now is where they wanted to be in week 4.
Well, it seems kind of like,
week 4.
From what he's saying, a big focus for them is still like their team play issues that's happening. So I'm sure they're doing a lot of work with Keith, but it does look like, the team as a whole is being focused. So it's not just like all on him or anything. And the point about Tom Kinch, I'll be honest, it's very true. Tom Kinch is going to die for your team all the time, and you're really happy. You're like, go die over there, Tom. I really need you to die, or else, like, your carry's dead. Yeah,
and your point about the whole team. Last game was lost through topside. Hanser got absolutely abused by Broken Blade. So it is definitely not just like a Keith problem.
A lot of interesting thoughts brought up by Anero during that, and we're going to let you settle with those for a moment because we're taking a quick break, and when we return, it's more Monday Night League.
Welcome back to the LCS Countdown. Now, if you weren't aware, we made some serious upgrades to the studio for 2020. The biggest one being the LCS Arcade, powered by Alienware, of course. There's so many cool things inside, and you can even play and watch some games in there, so let's go check it out. The arcade is packed full of Alienware computers where you can play 1v1s, TFTs before the game starts. We also have these nice, comfy couches with 2 people sitting here. They're catching up on the LEC action. You know, the lesser regions. Come on, wake up, we got a show soon. But right now, I'm feeling like doing a 1v1 myself, but unfortunately, I don't think I'm gonna find anyone who can take me. Rivington Bislin III! Are we doing this? Let's go. Undefeated as always in my 1v1s. Now, if you are visiting the LCS, make sure to stop by the LCS Arcade and get your games in. Now, I think all that's left to do is to get into the actual game. So guys, back to you, and I'm gonna...
Welcome back to Monday Night League, where we're gearing up for game number 1. And I think, if I remember correctly, we heard some words from a very important player. Do y'all remember anything about that this week? Nothing?
No.
What do you mean?
All right, well, since no memories are serving right here on the desk, I think that it's time to let you all know in the last week, Team Liquid got terrific news for their team regarding their starting roster.
So today I have some news for all of you, since I have gotten my visa response. And fortunately enough, those news are very, very, very positive, and I'm gonna have a hard time to stop smiling while telling you all this, because my visa has been approved. And obviously I couldn't be any happier about that. I'm so excited, so happy. It's such a relief as well that I finally have my visa and that I can actually soon travel to LA and join up with my team and get to participate in everything, get to play some games in the LCS, and I'm just, you know, really, really excited and really happy, and I guess that's...
Feel free to go ahead and check out the video for yourself if you want to see the rest of it. He basically goes on to thank the Team Liquid fans around the world for their patience during the delay, and obviously very excited due to the smile on his face as he referenced multiple times.
Yeah, I would be smiling just like that for a minute and a half straight. I think that's pretty fair reaction to everything.
Definitely, and I think for the timeline with Broxah coming back, it looking like week 4, but they are the first game of the week. So, you know, maybe that's better with jet lag because you're playing earlier in the day. And
it's not bad for EU. EU jet lag is not the worst. It's going to be like nighttime-ish for him.
Yeah, so hopefully that's a little bit better, but it is still a very quick turnaround time considering he probably won't arrive till midweek. So it'll only be a couple scrim blocks at most that he's going to get with the team.
I mean, I think it's kind of a weird situation because I think most teams, if they put in a new player, kind of like jungle's not plug and play, I would give teams like 3 weeks to kind of get in the groove again. But with like Broxah and TL, like I feel like all 4 players here are like have this like internal pressure, like we gotta practice, we gotta improve, and like they're really excited. And Broxah, I'm sure watching the team is sitting there in Europe going like, I need to practice, I need to get there. So I think right when they get here, I think when they get here, it's gonna be pretty explosive of a team. And I think I wouldn't give it to anyone else.
And as the team that has to put you in a whole different mindset, right? You're thinking about the timeline that you have to get him into the action, but also those that are playing in today's match with this information coming through on one side, but then you still have to focus on today. Do you think they're already trying to gear up for this kind of like almost final end of the semester feeling, cram in with all of the energy drinks sort of thing?
No, I feel like TL's probably just been in a holding pattern, like the player mindset of like, oh, Broxah will get here soon. And so I actually think this will help their mindset more than you would normally think, just because they're so like, when's Broxah here? Season hasn't even started for us.
Yeah, I didn't know where you were going with that, but yeah, I think they're really excited right now for this game, because this is going to be like the last hurrah to play with this roster. So I think this is going to be like, this is the last time, let's do it hard, because next time we get Broxah.
Yeah.
So I think this is going to be a fast, like, strong win.
The domino effect from this will be taking place more in week 4, but one of the opponents for Team Liquid today is Closer, who's been a shining light for Golden Guardians in the end. And in case you haven't had the 4-1-1, our Turkish MVP has it covered with the TCL. So let's go ahead and get a closer look at Closer.
When I first heard about him, Closer was yet another rookie trying to make a name for himself and get out of the Turkish Challenger Series. Despite regularly reaching Challenger in EU solo queue, he did not look like he would become the best jungler in TCL and, more importantly, first jungle export. Turkish esports produced significant top laners and ADCs in its entirety. However, Turkish junglers were usually scarce and jungle role always belonged to imports. After a number of failed promotion attempts in the TCS, Royal Bandits signed Closer as the substitute jungler behind Malrang for his first TCL split. Patiently waiting and spamming more solo queue, Closer had his chance as the starter for summer of 2018. Dominating the regular split with almost an 80% win rate, Royal Bandits was definitely the favorites against Supermassive in the finals. However, Closer had to play the entire series with a fever, and unfortunately, that wasn't his flu game. They lost the series and Closer looked tired and weary. What hurted him more was the fact that his sickness was regarded as an excuse by some esports fans. Failing to accomplish his goal was nothing new to Closer, but this time he had to overcome hate and anger as well. What separates good players from great players is usually how they respond to adversity. Despite the losses, failed attempts, hateful tweets, Closer always found the inner strength to work harder and bounce back. All of his hard work paid off in his final split in TCL, where he dominated the scene with aggressive jungle picks such as Jarvan, impressive map movement, and he finally became the undisputed league MVP. Joining with Broken Blade and Niski in the LCS, Closer is giving Turkish fans even more reason to closely follow the league, and we wish him all the best in the future.
Welcome to the game, and Closer is definitely a player I've kept my eyes on, and he's been a pretty solid player overall. Happy to see him be reasonably successful here in the LCS so far.
Yeah, and it's awesome to actually hear from some of the TCL casters, to be able to actually get a little bit more background info on Closer and his kind of journey through pro. Hasn't been always rainbows and sunshine for him.
Sure, of course, and that's, pretty standard for any pro gamer in general. Like, sometimes things outside your control keep you from performing. Sometimes you have a bad day. Sometimes it's not your fault, but we are into this match here as we begin.
It's never my fault.
It's never your fault,
Yeah.
Azael, you're right. If
Especially
this is a bad
when I'm
cast,
casting with you.
If this is a bad cast, it's all on me, and I will live that one down. And we are in a champion select. Team Liquid, I want to point out actually that this 2-3 record obviously looks pretty bad for the defending champions. They have yet to play a team with below 3 wins so far this split. This is their first kind of on paper easy opponent in the LCS. Everyone else is a top half team, and you kind of expect that TL should be taking care of business here against Golden Guardians.
Yeah, I mean, their next couple of matchups are against Golden Guardians, then they have Immortals and CLG, so as far as strength of schedule, it is getting easier for them. But despite the fact that they don't have Broxa and they have been playing against hard teams, I don't think we can give them a pass on all of their issues. This is still 4/5 of basically an all-star team in the NALCS. All 4 of these guys were first team all LCS last split. So you do have high expectations for them. It has not been flawless, and I do think some of that is down to the fact that they weren't boot camping and everything in the offseason. They haven't put as much time in, so we are expecting them to ramp up and perform better individually.
Well, Rek'Sai and Lee Sin going to be available for Closer as his other 2 most played junglers after the Jarvan, of course, grabbed right away for Schernfire. And I want to spend a little bit of time contrasting these 2 junglers, because one of the complaints I have seen from TL players or fans watching the games is that Schernfire doesn't really do a whole lot in the early game, and that is very true. And so the stat I want to bring up is that Closer is the #1 jungler in the LCS in team jungle proximity. He actually spends more than half the time near a teammate in the early game. #1, only player about 50%. Schernfire is second to last. He's actually just farming. Schernfire is second to last in kills and assists at 15. He's third to last in forward percentage. He's actually just in his jungle the whole time, farming, not ganking, and that makes TL's early lanes not be able to do anything because they don't have a jungle.
Yeah, and I mean, that is obviously something difficult, right? He is stepping into a new role in a new league with a new team with incredibly high expectations, and that is going to be tough for him. But I agree, he hasn't had the best performances, and even we got a stat about Doublelift after week 2 had the lowest jungle proximity of any bot lane in the league, so he had been not getting the help as he may be used to. TL often, historically, has played heavily around bot lane. Senna again, you can see the look on Doublelift's face. TL 0-3 with Senna. And they keep going back to it, and I've got to say I'm so surprised. It just does not seem to fit their playstyle, but it is a pick that is very strong in the meta. A lot of teams are performing with it, so they are kind of insistent upon playing it, continually going back to it. But we have seen other picks be extremely popular, especially when you're looking at the LCK. Senna's not really played very much at all there. Things like Kalista and Ashe are kind of rising up and taking spots alongside MF and Aphelios, which are obviously not available for TL to grab at that point in the draft, but it'll be interesting to see if they can kind of play around it a little bit differently and finally get a win under their belt with this, because traditionally, this is Doublelift's team, right? TL has always been kind of built around him since he joined it. He was the main damage dealer. He is the guy that needs to be protected and that take over the team fight. Senna's not really that champion. Senna is more utility. It is about cross-map plays with the ultimate, supporting your side lanes, being able to have, you know, all the utility of the Shroud and the heals, and it's like, its pure DPS output is lower than a lot of these other champions.
It is. You look at the other two most common AD carries down there, it's Misfortune and Aphelios. Indeed, Senna's damage per minute, sort of worldwide in pro play, is it's actually only about like 15% lower than MF. I mean, that's still, you know, meaningful, don't get me wrong.
Because it can poke a lot.
Sure, of course. Doublelift's damage per minute is 3/4 of the Senna average worldwide. He's actually not even, by Senna standards, doing much damage. And he's number 9 damage per minute in the league, number 9 damage per gold in the league here as well. He is not getting his numbers up over time. He's up against FBI, though. He's actually number 1 in the league, damage per gold. So this is a matchup where I'm expecting more out of the bot lane.
Yeah, I mean, it's very interesting, right? Because, you know, when you do see a weakness like this among a team, teams are going to draft for that every single time. They're going to try to push you towards that weakness if that is perceived that way. You know, one of the things that people used to do to TL in the draft in the past is they would, you know, just blindly expect Impact to play tanks, right? So they would pre-counter pick a tank, and then TL would grab the tank anyway, right? It's like they blind GP, he's picking Orin into it and giving the GP a good matchup. And this is something that can become an issue for TL. So perhaps the reason they're going back to the Senna is to get some wins under their belt with it and prove that, hey, we can play this. You can't just create a whole draft around forcing us to play Senna and expect to get away with it.
Well, what's funny, of course, is there's Senna AD carry nerfs in the next patch. This is the last game TL will ever play on 10.2, and AD carry Senna is going to lose like 2.5% win rate next patch. So I don't even think you need to show off the champion, personally, but look at this. I do like what this is showing up to be, though. It's a very heavy team fight team. They've all got great team fight ultimates. The Galio is in there, the Kennen, Jarvan and Rumble over the top. Like, this Double can just press R once and it's still useful at the very least.
I mean, it's 5 AoE ultimates, and it's an incredible amount of engage to be able to set up. I do think this is really smart, especially when you're looking over and seeing Misfortune on the other side. Champions that do not have dashes, it's so damn difficult to play safe against J4 plus Galio. You add Rumble and Kennen over top, that gets even more difficult. Senna does assist the dive very effectively, as you're saying. Also on top, easy to hit the damage with the Cataclysm pinning someone down, but also the shielding is going to be there for your 4 divers. And this does seem like an intelligent draft. We're going to have to see if Golden Guardians can kind of peel it apart a little bit. You know, a lot of poke going to be available here from the Zoe, and if they can get the proper setup for the MF ultimate, that can be very effective alongside, you know, Aatrox kind of diving in with the Lee Sin. But that being said, it's very difficult to ever kind of get the opportunity to stand and fire with this MF ult against this composition, because Equalizer can be layered over top of you. If you're ever in range of J4 Galio, they are going to be looking for you. So we're going to have to see a really strong game, I think, out of FBI, and perhaps a little bit of side lane play where Aatrox, I think, can take over in the later stages against these types of champions.
And a big thing I have my eyes on as well is FBI's lane mate in Keith, where Thresh has a very different role in this game, where suddenly he needs to be the defensive lantern bot to get someone away from the incredible Jarvan, Rumble, Galio, Kennen, Senna all at once engage tool. So if it's on FBI, that lantern better be behind him already to yank him out of that, or he's instantly dead.
And I do know that this is one of the picks that, you know, while Keith was playing in Korea in solo queue, it was his highest win rate champion that I saw. He had gotten, you know, pretty high in Grandmasters. He had like a 67, 68% win rate on Thresh specifically. So I do think if there's one champion he would be most comfortable at, I would expect it to be this based on the solo queue picks.
As long as he can position himself well, it's not always a hands problem, it's sometimes a brain or just a coordination problem. We heard from their coach in Nero just a couple minutes ago saying that, you know, sometimes we make one call, then we pivot, but Keith's already committed to that first call, and he's the one left out to die, and that's not always his fault. So we'll see if coordination will step up here for Golden Guardians, or if Liquid can end the week tied for 3rd place with 3 wins. So get ourselves onto the Rift, let's see what happens.
Well, it is looking like we're going to get kind of the new wave build here for Kennen. Something that has been very popular in the LCK is Kennen overall as a pick, but actually Conqueror and Gunblade. You know, to have a tremendous amount of self-healing here, to play more for the laning phase. About a full year ago, that had been somewhat popular, but it was more played like PTA and these types of things. And then that had really fallen out of popularity for the Proto Belt Rush, and that is almost exclusively what we have seen for quite some time at the pro level, but it has kind of swung back once again to this rush towards Gunblade, towards playing for that lane and that side lane dominance. So you have to really track how much impact can get done. Because if you're going to go for this build and you don't get a CS advantage, you don't have a pressure advantage, you are just weaker in the team fights without having Proto Build.
All right, so we'll see what they can do for this one. Impact going down the whole precision tree, gets some extra energy on kill and assist as well. Presence of Mind does work on energy champions. So we'll see 250 max energy somewhere at some point here, unless he gets completely shut out. And nothing too spicy happens in the early game. A quick trinket ward that I believe Doublelift spotted, so they know which way they come out. And if Schernfire does a level 2 gank, Schernfire is indeed on his own red buff, and he can only lane gank now if he wants to get anything done on the bottom side. Meanwhile, a bit of a leash coming through for Hanzo to help Closer go a bit faster. That should help in case there's any kind of weird early game invade path, but Schern is going to go buff to buff, it looks like, and end at Gromp.
Yeah, gonna have to track if he can get involved early on here. It does look like Closer is going to be doing the exact same path. You know, he is going to be doing buff to buff, straight to Gromp.
All right, well, we have Avli standing by with a sideline report. Take it away.
Thank you very much, Freak. I got just a little bit of info coming out from TL's Dodo. Saw the Senna pick being picked up by Doublelift last week. He said that he doesn't believe Senna's a very good champion or that he just doesn't want to play her. Well, I just got finished speaking with Dodo, and he says that Doublelift is fine with the champion. He likes playing Senna, and he enjoys, and he's not too bad at her in the lane. So that's my tidbit of information for you guys. Do with it what you will.
Doublelift blink twice if they're making you play Senna, buddy.
He also loved playing Sona last year. His favorite champion, by the way. Really a Sona enthusiast. Owns all the skins. We'll see if he's going to be all smiles after this one.
Yeah?
One thing I will say, Doublelift likes to win. So,
he does.
You know, if they do think it's going to be the strongest pick, they'll play it. Whether you enjoy it or not, you know, isn't always the biggest of deals. But Impact, you know, expected to have push on that top side, and it is going to be Closer looking for the invade here. Remember, so much of that experience is in that big chicken that he just smited away. So Shern will still have that smite, but Closer, early advantage, and you know, Golden Glue has a great Spell Thief grab there with the Ignite, so that can help to have a little bit more pressure in this 2v2 invade. He has the Ignite.
Nice. Well, Shern spotted, of course, by the Scryer's Plume. Now Jensen asleep, but gank doesn't come through, able to pretty much play this safely. There's a big wave to farm in the mid lane. Should tie up the farm overall across those two players. Early top lane push expected for Impact there. As Monster's on the back foot of the top side. That's what you get for getting counterpicked and the Kennen coming through.
Yeah, generally when you're playing these melee matchups, a lot of it is about knowing exactly how much you need to give over to your opponent, as Jensen will spot Closer coming in here with that ward. And you can't contest every range minion specifically when you are under turret because you're going to take too much harass. And if you get harassed down too early, you have to give up more CS overall. So we will see how Haunter does in this early lane. If he can stabilize, generally go down 10 or so CS. And then from there, if you're playing it well, you can kind of slow that down and try to keep that gap at that point.
Top Scuttle goes over pretty cleanly to Schernfire. Is going to be first level 4 in that. And here's the Ignite, the Flay, big damage, the flash in. They can take down Double if they're behind him. And now CoreJJ gets some damage with FBI, but has to flash away as well. First blood in the bottom lane 2-on-2 for Keith.
Yeah, Keith and FBI taking down Doublelift and CoreJJ there. Doublelift, no flash, also means he's going to be pretty vulnerable to ganks. The possibility is there for Closer to make a move down to that bottom side now.
I can't be more hyped than like everyone's clowning on Keith, and he's straight up 2-on-2 first bloods Doublelift.
Yeah, he played it really, really well. So let's watch this one more time. Let's see how this started out. Right as the minion goes down, the hook was already coming out. So Doublelift thought he was safe, thought he was behind that minion. Keith grabs him, and from there, it was pretty much lights out. I do think it was smart to not use that heal. I do believe that was intentional, because from that point, I think the summoner is just going to be wasted. So Doublelift accepts his death. Only positive for TL side is that the first blood went to Keith instead of to FBI.
Sure.
So the itemization, is not as bad as it could be between those two marksmen. It's still a pretty big deal, though. Extra Dorans and extra longsword on top. So expect that bottom lane to be heavily in Golden Guardian's favor for the next couple minutes, at least.
Yeah, do want to point out it was 3 summoners burned for 2, so there is the summoner advantage back in Team Liquid's favor. They get a new gank coming through. Crucially, FBI himself has the flash, but of course Keith does not. We'll see if that comes to matter pretty soon. But a 500 gold difference puts Golden Guardians in the early lead. Most of that, of course, buoyed by the first blood itself. Closer's back into this lane, but Schernfire's here as well. Spotted by the Trinket Ward. Able to kill it himself. And they should know better than to go for anything too aggressive, knowing that Shern is there. If GG plays up, that means they absolutely know that they have a counter gank waiting.
Yeah, and you know, we see Shermfire here. As soon as he gets spotted, he just wants to be in the area long enough to make sure that they can actually push in that wave and reset it, and they have been able to do so. Core JJ spotting Closer there, who will be backing off now, but, you know, Jensen just kind of been a farm lane thus far. Yep. The Zoe able to kind of hold this lane pretty equal. You do expect Rumble oftentimes to have the push, but Closer has been pretty active around this mid lane, and that is going to make you hesitant to fully commit to a push.
And one point of note, actually, is across the 5 games teams played so far, Golden Blue has had almost identical laning stats to Jensen. Very slightly better performance in CSD gold difference and very slightly lower overall jungle proximity. They've actually been having a pretty good early game there on Golden Blue's side.
Yeah, I mean, I think Golden Blue has been actually quite a successful laner. I think his problem has been in converting the leads when he gets them, right? You know, we've seen multiple games where he's in a great position, but it doesn't always result in a win, and that is not just a Golden Blue thing, it is a team thing. But they need to get to a point where they can take advantages and consistently turn those into objectives, consistently turn those objectives into game wins. Because, you know, it's not as though this has been a team sitting at 1-4 that has just been getting slammed. They've actually had a lot of really close games that have sometimes just barely knocked on their way.
And we'll see if they can convert those a bit later on. Of course, right now we're seeing Shern yet again look towards the bottom lane. A rare bot lane gank for Team Liquid with this jungler. And this could be the play. FBI is going to need a lantern. Gets to walk over to it in time. And Core just could not land the E to stop it. Nicely done by Keith, lanterning out.
Yeah, Shern tried to actually drop the pink ward on that lantern. I do think he was a split second too late. That the lantern had already been grabbed by FBI. So pink ward not very effective in this case, and Shern does actually walk past that pink. I don't think it was spotted. I think he did not walk through that brush, so he may not know that they have vision there. And
a lot of damage. This could be the Q's landing. They're not going to go for the Q into kick flash. Could have been a play, but that's so risky.
Yeah.
You're going to get caught out there if you do it wrong at all.
I mean, if you take that Q and Jensen flashes back behind his turret and then turns on with the overheat and the ignite, you know, that is someone that can roast a jungler very, very quickly, so you do have to be careful about that. But they are looking for an invade now on this blue buff. They have had vision. They have had some priority from the jungle. Closer is up a level, and it's going to be a nice blue steal there for Golden Guardians.
Really nicely done. 600 gold lead. Easy wave clear pretty much. Level 8 actually first for Golden Blue, of course, with the bonus XP you get from taking the blue, despite dropping 1 CS to his turret. Obviously worth it in all cases. Their impact. Throw him back to the lane, and we check in on top lane, and it's, well, it's actually going to be maybe dangerous. Nah, it's going to push back away. It's going to push back towards Hanser without much issue, but still going to be a 10 or so CS difference here.
Yeah, and that's about what's expected. I think both players are playing it, you know, pretty well. It is one of those things where, you know, as Hanser, as I said, you're going to have to give up some early CS, but then you should be able to stabilize the lane. Merc is almost always the buy. The tenacity is pretty important here against Kennen. Move speed also a big deal to be able to dodge out a lot of those shurikens. So, you know, farming it out pretty well, and we'll see if Impact can continue to create this pressure, because this is what you need to do when you're investing into what I see as a pretty early game item in that Gunblade compared to the teamfight effectiveness of its counterpart, which is that Protocol.
Attempted sleep there, not going to land on that one as Keith grabs the CS and then walks away for the other half of it. Looking over at this top side of the map, yeah, FBI has the most gold in the game. The 200 gold for the assist on First Blood, obviously meaningful, but also a 20 CS lead down to that bottom lane. Now it's a pretty far run, and yeah, with the E, gets out of range. Golden Blue not able to land that poke whatsoever. And you can see this team now posting up around this Rift Herald. Of note, neither team actually swapped their AD carry out of the bottom lane for the 8-minute Herald. We're not seeing that play this time.
And you've also got to look at how big the CS advantage is actually now.
Oh, double walks to the right-hand side. Still 2 more autos. Almost going to be enough. The ulti! A big shield. And actually forced the Galley ult down as well. FBI forcing big spells out of Team Liquid. But now, a big play out of Shernfire. A lot of damage on a Golden Blue. He's going to try to run away, but he just does not have the ability to. The flash follow is going to be there. The ult as well. So Golden Blue falls. A great mid lane gank for Shernfire.
Yeah, really nicely done. But here comes FBI and Keith. They could look for this closers here too.
Play, kick, Q lands, no way out, and Shernfire EQ's out back to the opposing turret. Hook's gonna land, give it over to FBI. We almost autoed him, but that is the kill picked up. A trade of 2 for Golden Guardians.
This game has been bot lane difference for Golden Guardians against TL. The best bot lane in the league for the last while, and they are just dominating. Up over 20 CS, the roam then to mid lane. Golden Blue here getting the initial chunk onto Jensen, but Schernfire was right there to respond. And then Golden Glue here, he's not flashing because Schernfire is holding the ultimate.
Yep.
If you flash, you get immediately hit by the Cataclysm, and you just waste that summoner. But in comes Keith, in comes FBI, Closer with the kick through the box, the Ignite is up, they finish that kill off, and then Schernfire slowed by that box. Really doesn't have anywhere to go. Maybe could have used the EQ down to try to escape, you know, out through the bottom side, but really just a great roam from the Golden Guardians bottom lane, and that is due to the pressure advantage that they've had down there.
Look at this one, 1,500 gold lead. Golden Guardians with a really good start, and a lot of that honestly is on the back of Keith. He's landed some very good hooks, but Schernfire showing signs of life as well. The knock was there, a stopwatch burn, but there's really no way he doesn't die. And indeed, the flash doesn't get him away. A nice ult to lock him down. Schernfire sets up another.
Yeah, that seems like just a bit of a frustration use of that flash. You know, when you have made the call in the previous play to not actually flash when J4 still has the ultimate and is right there behind you, then why do it on this one? It does seem like a bit of a wasteful use of that summoner.
Yeah.
So he is going to go down, loses the stopwatch and the summoner. Buys a little bit of time for the squad, though, to get the push on mid lane, so they do get a turret plate there, but TL will get the kill, they will get the dragon, and very likely can get access to a turret plate in bot lane, too.
Pretty nice. There's going to be attempted plays here by Golden Guardians, but nothing going to happen too much. Liquid, up to this point in time, actually had the lowest Drake control in the LCS. A lot of that was, again, as we kind of continue to look at Schernfire and point fingers, the guy wasn't getting ganks off and helping the bot lane shove out. And this time around, finally gets something out of that one and is doing a lot of the good work now for TL. Another attempted play. Closer going to land the Q.
Oh, no.
Lantern in case he wants it, does, and with the pullback, gets to kick him right back in as well. Jensen does flash to safety, though, and clears the wave. No spells to land for Golden Glue.
Yeah, I feel like Closer could have actually waited for Keith to hit the initial hook, because when you Q him, it allowed Jensen to create more distance back first. I feel like if you just allow Keith to start out of the sleep with the hook and then kick him back using Closer out of that while he CC'd, they might have been able to get a kill there, but either way, Jensen is able to escape. They do force the summoner.
A little something, but you can see Team Liquid closing the gap a bit. Only 1,000 gold difference, plus this Ocean Drake is theirs. Mountain next to spawn in 4 minutes, and we still haven't... we did see the Herald go down. Sorry, I missed it. It was picked up a while ago by Closer, and we'll see if he can crash it. He has 45 seconds to get to a lane and summon it if he wants that extra gold.
Yeah, they grabbed it during one of the previous replays around that mid lane fight, so he has been sitting on it on some time, and may just head straight to mid lane and drop it here. There's only 3 plates left mid lane. I would like to see them get that plate money.
Another sleep. Nice play by Core. Really plays it one nicely. Big damage and a double lift, though. That Q could have killed him. A nice taunt, nice damage. And there is the summon. Mid lane could be crashed a lot here. Double lift deals a bit with the Q. Who? Again, Core steps in front, blocks the skill shot. There's going to be a lot of damage on this turret. Nearly dead before the charge. Last 2 autos will kill it. And mid lane turret, the first to be claimed. Golden Guardians stretch the gold lead.
Again, really nice moves here from Golden Guardians towards mid lane. They have been doing a great job playing around it, moving in, getting some pressure down, dropping the Herald all right before 14 minutes, exactly as you would want to see. They're now over 2,000 gold ahead, and sitting with a very nice advantage. Essence Reaver has been completed for FBI, so he's at quite a strong point in this game. Going to be interested to see if he does go for kind of the heavy AD build right towards an IE second, just using this dagger for the Berserker Greaves. That is a build I'm a very big fan of.
Me too.
You know, I think having the heavy AD for the kind of spell casting part of the kit is very, very valuable. It allows you to get really effective ultimates, and you know, with the amount of attack speed you can actually get from your W, you don't necessarily need to rush towards a Zeal completion.
Take stock of this game once again as Schernfire clears away a couple of wards, but can't get all of them. I'm going to check to see if anything's up in that brush. Nothing is. Chickens respawning the top side of the map, same for the bottom. And we'll see the farm game continue. Right now, though, Closer actually up several camps over Schern. Schern himself, though, of course, has gotten a couple of good ganks off, and you can't malign him for this one. 2,000 gold difference as Golden Glue leads the way to the bottom side of the map. Misses some minions. It's okay, it happens once in a while. I'll give you a pass. They're sneaky like that.
Yeah,
and of course, walk by the control ward earlier as well.
He'll be able to pick up most of this. You know, is definitely a bit behind the mark you would expect as far as CS does go. You know, there has been kind of a lot of moves towards mid lane, and you know, he has died off a couple times, which is hurting that. But you know, sitting down 115 CS past 15 minutes is a little bit surprising.
Yeah. Do you want to give some credit to Jensen, though, as well, for having the highest CS per minute of any mid laner in the LCS, and actually worldwide #2 only to Nahun. Doing pretty well for himself, and Golden Glue suddenly is on the wrong side of this one. There is no way out for Members, press R to secure that kill.
Yeah, all the ultimates come down, and that's where you're maybe kicking yourself for using Flash on that previous play, because it was still down from that previous death where he was all but guaranteed to actually die there. This is one where maybe he could have gotten away. Surenfire actually had to use the Flagging Drag into ult just to close the gap there. So Golden Glue, again, is punished. They are getting kind of catches on him consistently, and he's got to be careful about this because that has really been the only place that TL is finding action. You know, every kill has been on Golden.
Good sidestep double F uses heal for the move speed. Jukes upwards, and that is not what Closer predicted, so good fancy feet there, prevents the kill.
Nicely done. It is interesting to actually take a little check-in here on Core JJ's build. He's gone Swifty Boots. He's also working towards what appears to be perhaps a redemption. And, you know, that is a very squishy build for a melee support. Yes, he is going to have Aftershock, and there's a possibility he's going for, like, Righteous Glory or something. Yeah. He just has that Fairy Charm as kind of a little one-off piece, but this is a squishy build. You know, you generally see more kind of tanky boots, and you generally see rush towards things like Knight's Vow or Stoneblade a lot of times on the melee supports these days. So he's going to have to play it differently, and we'll see if he can kind of make the most of that.
Yeah, it looks like an in-combat move speed build because of that W self-slow, right? Swifty helps you get around that a little bit there, and ooh, this is now an attempt towards impact. Gets the pull back, nice dude backwards though, and this could be a really good re-engage. Good damage back from Hanser, impact forced to mostly just wave clear. Other Q is going to land. Health bars favoring Team Liquid as Hanser tries to wave clear.
Yeah, Impact's got to be a little bit scared though. He knows Closer was up there. He was spotted on ward. That's what prompted the initial retreat. He also knows that a lot of members are missing off the map, so you can kind of intuit that they are doing the rift, and that is why they're actually just going to be going for this trade, taking the Dragons themselves. Golden Guardians prioritizing what should get them the additional gold right now, where TL are just kind of starting that slow move towards Dragon stacking. And I think it's a smart way to play for both sides. Golden Guardians do want the early advantage. They want to extend their lead, where TL, you know, they're looking for 5v5. They're looking for AoE team fights. And one of the best ways to get that is to actually force your opponents to answer you at an objective. One of the best ways to do that is to be stacking towards Dragon, so where your opponents have to answer you. So I think both teams making intelligent choices.
Well, Team Liquid feeling pretty comfortable about them at this point in time, despite the fact they're still down 1,000 gold. They've got those 2 Drake buffs, and as you mentioned, the eventuality of the Dragon's Soul that is going to force Golden Guardian's hands, and we haven't seen them do anything else but get kills off of Thresh plays.
One thing we'll also point out, Kennen, one of the best users of Cloud Soul. The ultimate, where you get the big burst of move speed when you do actually use that ult, plus the flat 10% move speed, makes it so much easier to access backline on Kennen. You don't always need this perfect flank now. There's actually times where he can just straight up run straight at him, gunblade a carry, and ult onto their face. The amount of move speed it does give you can be pretty surprising.
Checking in on individual gold, talking about the items people are completing. You've got a 2,000 gold in the bot lane for one side and a 1,000 gold in the mid lane for the other, is the general way of putting it down. And it means that Jensen is kind of the one to watch for. Of course, we know Impact's going to have value off the ulti as well, but that setup is what I'm looking for.
And one of the concerning things when you're playing double AP solos and your AD is behind is that they can start to get a lot of value out of MR purchases, right? You know, that's mitigated somewhat by this kind of Black Cleaver Warrior Jarvan build, and that's going to be that second source. But, you know, if I'm on Golden Guardians, I'm definitely considering things like the Hex Shrinker and some of these types of more defensive itemizations, which I think are going to be very, very important against Galio, against Rumble, and against Impact's Kennen.
Yep, it's going to look like it's time soon for Golden Guardians to contest Drake. 3 minutes to go. Cloud Drake's honestly pretty good for a ulti-focused team as well. When you're focusing really hard on hitting those buttons back again, well, it turns out 20% off that cooldown. If TL can get the next 2, it's going to feel really good for their team comp, and we'll see if that does come to fruition.
Yeah, I mean, when you're looking at that flat percentage, it's such a big deal on some of these long ultimate cooldowns. It's a 3-minute cooldown, 180 seconds right now for Core JJ on that heroic entrance. So, you know, that is something where you're going to get a ton of value out of it. And as you say, you know, they want to fight around ults. When you have them up more, you're going to have more ability to actually look for plays and to be proactive.
Core feels safe to go for this ward kill, and he's indeed going to knock down Keith's control ward. Money down the drain. Big power spikes, though, are in. We're seeing the build towards what seems to be the redemption, right? It's that lone cloth armor just kind of chilling there, but it's redemption coming through for Core to add more AoE damage. You know, it's true damage on the top, so when everyone else dunks in, you help as well. But the power spikes, I really like them a lot on the Golden Guardian side. You just finished GLP. IE plus Essence Reaver is way better than an unfinished Muramana, when it's still halfway to transform. Stone Plate, right, first Okay, well, there's Redemption, so now it does tie it up, but Stoneplate was going to be better than Redemption.
One of the interesting things about Redemption, as I'm kind of thinking about more some of the logic behind this purchase, is that you are expecting, you know, 4 of the TL members to be heavily stacked and diving, right? So you're getting so many people grouped up where you should be dropping this. You can drop it offensively, as you were kind of alluding to as well, and maybe get some of the damage, but also get a 4-man heal potentially that could be pretty reliable when you have everyone who's going to be funneling towards this Cataclysm and this Galio ult.
Yeah, I think it's going to look really nice. Looking as time moves on, as FBI can wave clear. Double gets a couple of pokes down on the turret, and we're only 85 seconds away from this Cloud Drake spawning. That's, to me, where the first big team fight happens, and the problem is, of course, for Golden Guardians, Team Liquid would love a pretty direct team fight here.
You can see, though, both sides have basically every single summoner available, so you know, there's not necessarily that easy pick over onto FBI. He has Tons, he has Flash. You know, that can make him much more difficult to actually lock down and get a hold on.
Good look right there. Gets the slow into Keith and Closer. Wave clear on both sides, and FBI, yeah, goes ahead and walks up. Says, I'll battle you, double lift. And decent enough job of that. 45 seconds now. There's basically 2 more wood waves to clear, and then that bottom river is going to light up with action.
Yeah, it's getting right to it. People have got to get ready for that move. Impact's still up on that top side. I'm wondering if he's just going to try to be getting damage down on the turret and actually use his TP to join the fight, because he has not yet made a move down towards that Dragon Pit. And there's not really a ton of time to actually do so yet. You know, TL doesn't really have very much vision in this area. You know, they have one lone ward, but really past this point on the map, they haven't gotten much, right? This is all Golden Guardians here. So it could actually be TL just seeding the Dragon as we see Impact continuing to push forward. He did take down that top lane tier 1.
And we've had Hanzo just recall to get to the top of the site now as well. Both teleports available. We'll see if they join. Once again, Core ease backwards and gets out of range of all the poke, but now the Cloud Drake is alive. And right now, the river belongs to Golden Guardians. That can easily change, of course. Golden Blue, nice poke out from Doublelift. They got to be careful. The root's going to land on a closer, and he could be the target. Kicks back, finds the knockup. Bullet Time forcing the flash away from Doublelift. Bullet Time is a meaningful cooldown. The only great team fight ult the Golden Guardians has. Here's the play in, and look at the damage of a Keith forces the flash away. And here comes Impact. Finds a single kill, Redemption on the top as well. Poke a little bit out from Golden Guardians, but that is a kill for nothing, and that should mean control for Team Liquid.
Yeah, I definitely think it will, and they still have J4 Galio ultimates, and now FBI has no sum. So if you step forward, you are going to get locked down by this Jarvan Galio combo. So I think you cannot contest this whatsoever without those summoners on FBI. And TL used just enough because they kept those key ults.
Really beautiful stuff right there. Team Liquid grab Drake number 3. They'll trade a top turret for, but that seems just fine for them. Gold still 1,400 apart, but the Drake buffs are adding up to, you know, what essentially amounts to combat stats anyway. You pay gold for cooldown reduction. What's more important here than ulti?
Yeah, it's going to be a really big deal. Checking in a little bit on Doublelift. He is sitting at 52 stacks on that Senna, so closing in on his 3rd range upgrade. Here this is one more time. It was a beautiful start to the fight. Golden Guardians were able to get a kick on Surenfire through Doublelift, but then the re-engage here, utilizing Nimbus Cloak. Flash plus Taunt plus 50 boots. He's actually going so damn fast with the Nimbus speed there, as well as the slow reduction on his 50 boots, but Golden Guardians are actually just rushing down the Baron, and it looks like it's gone.
What a sick play. They sneak it out. Everyone else gets out of the pit as well. During the replay, Golden Guardians sneak a Baron, and suddenly they've got the things they need to push a lead.
Yeah, that is a huge deal here. As Golden Guardians on that recall, on that reset from TL, they just actually ran out on the map, ran straight for the Baron. They're able to grab it and secure themselves a very big advantage. We'll see how much more gold they can actually get with this buff, but looking really good all of a sudden from what had felt like a big TL win.
Yeah, I thought so as well, but yeah, the whole team was topside, of course, because they were taking on the top turret. Team Liquid reset, and a really good call to see that one. I really want to know which player said, hey, we can Baron sneak this, and it was definitely the right call, so beautifully done here. And now a 3,000 gold lead. Now, Team Liquid are on soul point. That really does matter a lot. I would actually put a Dragon Soul as about, I would put it about 2,000 to 3,000 gold worth of overall power. Like, that's kind of how I would sort of shake team-wide power differences. And that means if TL gets that next Drake from a sneak or anything else, I think it ties them up right here. So Golden Guardians, I think, need to press the next 2 minutes of the Baron.
Yeah, I agree. They do want to extend this advantage. I would think it'd be worth even more than 2,000 to 3,000 gold. You know, if you're looking across 5 members, even just 10% flat move speed feels like so much to me. as far as the value, especially at the pro level, of being able to avoid some of those skill shots and closing the gap when you are playing a lot of these kind of short-range champions. You do really need to get in there, but Golden Guardians trying to get the most out of this. They've already knocked down the bot lane tier 2. You have Haunter solo pushing in that mid lane, and it's going to be up to TL to try to wave clear this one out.
Ulti after the poke from the Q. Jensen chunked so low he can't fight anymore. Maybe an ult over the top. He's not going to commit that one here. Double lift. Is he bringing anyone with him? Not just yet. Closer goes for the flash kick. They caught him out. What a beautiful setup. They spot Impact now as well. And this is a big setup now. Maybe Closer with the stopwatch stays alive. Re-engage towards a kill onto Core JJ. And mid is already pushing. Golden Guardians setting up towards the end game. They're going to knock down this bottom inhibitor and push into the mid as well.
All of a sudden, this could be game-ending damage. Closer catches double lift. Core JJ dies trying to save him. It's going to be at least 2 inhibs, but they don't have a lot of safe wave clear here, and they're going to look for the end.
It's a pretty important ult to miss. Now Impact gets completely slaughtered. Haunter in the front line. Stopwatch in as well. And they might pick up another kill over the top. Guardian Angel down to the top side, and that is a dead jungler. But look out for the rest of this half, as the respawns are coming pretty soon. 1 second on double lift. Core JJ back as well. They just dodged the ultimate, but the health bar is so low. Golden Guardians should be forced to run away. It's a fast recall, 15 seconds left on Baron, and what a game-opening fight.
Yeah, that was crazy. Just barely enough damage coming through from TL to even hang on, but Golden Guardians got so much more from that Baron than I think anyone was really expecting. It all kind of came off this pick from Closer. Double lift just got too close to that wall. They did not have vision in that area. You have to expect that someone could be looking for the engage over that wall. I think seeing Thresh gave him a false sense of security. He lost track of the fact that Closer could have been there. Closer punishes him massively, and Golden Guardians get both inhibitor towers, both inhibitors, and almost close out the game. It really was just kind of back off of Jensen here, getting a lot of damage down onto multiple members that kind of force him back, because the initial sleep lands on Impact. He goes down very, very quickly, but Jensen getting so much damage out onto Haunter, and kind of coming back in, getting a lot of damage across on FBI. Barely enough to push them back, because they knew with the respawns they could get a kill.
But imagine Jensen didn't ult a minion wave and not kill any minions out of it. They don't dive that Nexus if Equalizer's up. And if they do, they lose 3 people, right? So that ult needed to not be burned. Jensen did not save a turret, and it would have saved a Nexus turret and 2 kills if he held that cooldown, and that speaks to me as an experience.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough, right? Because I think, in these types of situations in the LCS, every time you see someone die with the potential of ending, everyone on comm starts screaming, clear the wave, right? And I think it's one of those things where maybe they overestimated the damage they could get done with it, but either way, Golden Guardians looking to push in here, looking to close out this game. And all of a sudden, they're 8,000 plus gold ahead here, and they are looking like they are in such a good spot. The Cloud Dragon is up on the map. That's sole point for TL, but good luck leaving your base.
It looks like they're going to go for some damage towards Fire, pushing him back away as offensive wards come down to look for who might be over the top. No poke going to land just yet, but top lane wave's getting cleared. Bloodthirster means extra shields here for FBI, who does have Flash Crucial. He can get away from almost anything that TL throws at him. Nice ult. He's going to push back Fire. Redemption, though, going to keep that squad alive, but it does mean a few seconds knock down this turret. That turret will indeed fall. Closer again for the kick flash. He's going to cut out. Guardian's going to go down. This could be a really good fight for TL, just potentially. Core forced away, though. The re-engage was close. They pick up 1 kill, and they're not going to land the sleep just yet. So the team looking to find that 1 kill. And remember, they are on sole point. Jensen trying to cut away from Haunter. Finally, a knockup going to land. There's Respite. That should almost be the kill, but it's not just yet. And here comes Impact, looking to find a kill. They shut down FBI. Double Lift still alive. The play for Keith. He wants to kill Impact. They find 1. They find 2. It's a trade back now as well. And now it's up to Haunter to do the damage. He does so indeed. 3 for 2 in the back half of that fight after that first pick. 2v2 now inside the base, pushing in with the minions.
It's going to be triple inhib here, and Double Lift has no summoners. He's still fairly low. If he gets caught by any poke from Golden Glue, he could die. I don't even know if they can deal with the minion wave here.
With Jensen looks pretty decent. Still can't land the poke though for Golden Glue. He's running low on mana now as well. Respawn's coming in 15 seconds. Gonna shepherd the wave in. Ult comes in as well. Can't quite get Double Lift. They flash in, but can't get that one either. There's the hit for Haunter, saying goodbye to his ex-teammate. And that will be another turret falling. 5 seconds on Core JJ. 2v1 pushing in for Jensen. 1 more auto would kill him, but he goes back to the Nexus. The kill comes down, and now it's up to Core. He's gonna find not quite the taunt. The damage still coming in. The minions are there. 2 more shots, and Golden Guardians takes down Team Liquid.
A 30-minute victory here over TL. Golden Guardians picking up a big win. And Team Liquid just not looking on form tonight.
And Team Liquid cannot blame Shernfire. Shern had all the good early ganks, thought he actually had a solid early impact there. The first blood was a heads-up 2-on-2. Keith went above and beyond here in this game, did so much work, won the 2-on-2, had the mid-roams for the 2-kill comeback. Absolutely beautiful by this Golden Guardian squad.
TL moving to 2-4.
Yep.
Very, very surprising start to the season for them. But Golden Guardians going to be feeling so good about this one. Really, and it's not just Keith. I think that FBI played incredibly well. Yes. They get the 2v2 kill. They actually move mid lane and use that to get an advantage there where they're able to win a fight. And Closer, I think, played a hell of a game.
Yes.
Getting multiple key kicks. Yep. That one kick on double lift in the base, that was kind of the key moment of the game where that could have just been some pressure on Inhibitor turret and turned into what eventually was the game-ending play, losing 2 inhibitors, not being able to keep up with wave clear. He has been very quick to pull the trigger when he finds an opportunity. And I think that is something you really, really do need when you're playing champions like Lee Sin at an elite level. And I'm very, very impressed with him.
Very impressed indeed. Good job, Golden Guardians. And for more on that victory, obviously standing by with the former TCL MVP.
Thanks, guys. I got Closer right here with me. Congratulations on the win against Team Liquid. Now, you really had that game-winning play, the Lee Sin pick onto double lift. So tell me about that moment.
Yeah, I felt like we were playing a bit passive, even though we were so ahead in the game. So after I hit my Q on double lift, I said, guys, I'm going here. And it ends up really good for us, so I'm happy.
Yeah, I'm sure your entire team and all the fans were incredibly happy about that pick. But let's talk about Golden Guardians as a whole really fast, because picking up the second win, bit of a slow start to the team. So is the team still getting used to each other right now?
Like I said, we are just trying to right now to stabilize our gameplay, because we are playing completely different in scrims. I know it's classic, but we were really aggressive in scrims. Then in stage we are oh, can we do this? What if we do this? So we are just trying to play more aggressive in stage and get used to stage. I'm pretty sure when we get used to stage, it will be better for us.
So do you think it's a confidence thing or just stage nerves?
Yeah, I think so.
All right, we'll figure out how to shake those off. But again, 1-1 weekend for Golden Guardians. Yesterday, loss against TSM and your buddy Broken Blade. So tell me, what were you feeling when he ended up blowing up your Nexus?
It's always bad to lose a friend because he'll keep joking all year. So yeah, I'm looking for a rematch. I hope I can win the next rematch.
Anything you want to say to him? Free match is a couple weeks away, but anything you want to say leading up to that game?
This time I will show him my Kiana. And we will see.
All right, BB, he just called you out right there. But Closer, once again, congratulations on your game. That's it for us here. Back to you guys at the State Farm Analyst Desk.
Thank you so much, Avali. A momentum that started with Closer's Q and went all the way with a slew of smiles on the side of Golden Guardians, maybe a Kiana to pop out eventually. But I believe you both were predicting the opposite way for this game. So surprises on this side?
Yeah. No, I totally knew it was going to happen.
And I'm sure you predicted how it was going to happen, too. The solo kill. And
I knew it, right? When I was like, oh, we're talking about Keith. He's going to kill double lift and lane.
Duh.
Yeah. Oh, man. No, that destroyed our predictions pretty hard.
Yeah.
And especially because it was Keith who was the one who started it. Their bot lane started that snowball.
Well, and it was exactly what we heard them talking about in the offseason and stuff about why they want to keep. They want someone who can punish in lane. Such a nice setup. They timed the Q with the hook through to get the bounce damage as well as kill the minion so the hook can go through, flash lantern ahead to cut off double lift's escape. It was all super well coordinated, and that's exactly the kind of stuff they were looking out for. And then he kept it up over the course of the game, was actually a huge playmaker for them.
Yeah, I really like the Thresh MF, the fact that once they got their lead, they started moving around. They didn't just stick in lane. It was really important because both of them are super deadly, super fast roamers. So you can just see them impacting the map everywhere.
Yeah, the closest Team Liquid got to clawing back in this game was some mispositionings by Golden Glue, getting a little too aggressive in the side lane.
Yeah, I think he didn't completely understand what his role was going to be. Here they get the mid push with the jungle and support, and they're actually going to come help Golden Glue right afterwards, but he steps up too far and gets caught by the Cataclysm before they can even help him.
Yeah, I mean, it was a weird setup too because you want to have the Thresh and the Zoe to start picking TL when they walk forward for the Drakes, but didn't end up happening. TL had a lot of Drakes, apparently.
Yeah, it was mostly off of that kind of side lane mismatch that was happening where they were losing the early Drakes, but after TL took the last one, they took a weird reset, Golden Guardians just rushed the Nash here. So when they went aggressive, they actually got a whole bunch in this game.
And a lot of the aspects within their composition from the draft really seem to position them to be able to do so. Opening it up right there, as you saw there, pushing through in the bot lane.
Opening it up, I like that. Closer opened it up. I gotta say too, just a minor nitpick, TL's draft in some ways could work, but it is so bad for their team. Jensen was a horrible rumble, overheating like at horrible times, ulting minion waves as they're like 5v3 defending their Nexus, like just baffling play. Impact built a Morella Nomicon after Jensen already had one, and he needs Zonia's. They have two Morella Nomicons. It's just like, oh, everything about that game.
Team as well.
Galio too, when they could have picked TK, that was a disrespect pick in the bot lane.
I mean, that would have saved Doublelift, right? He's getting hooked by Thresh. He's getting kicked in by Closer. It's like they needed that Tom Kinch.
No, we need more Wombo. We need more R buttons.
More R buttons? Yeah.
Topside having 3 R buttons wasn't enough. We need a 4th.
Which is really weird, because even Golden Guardians draft was one of the ones where I was like, man, they're playing a lot of skill shot champions, where it's like, yeah, if I'm drafting for GGS, I'm going to pick like easy execution. They pick like, if we win, we're going to win more, right? Threshes win more, Zoe's win more.
Got land hook, got land bubbles.
Yeah, but they're landing everything. So I was like, real big props to GGS.
And pivoting back over to the things that were working well for them within that game, before we went into it, we got those words from Monero speaking about not just the Keith situation, but he felt it was more of a team play aspect that came into it. So considering Keith's performance within this game compared to others and some of the other things going on, where are you in that? Team play, Keith?
I'm definitely more on the team play aspect of things, given how they lost yesterday, which was once again about their top side getting snowballed on. So, I mean, I love what I saw of Keith this game. Not on TK. You picked him to be aggressive in lane. That's what they always said. And it was weird to see him on TK duty. Here, they actually give him a champion who can make plays, and he went and did that. And so I would love to see them continue to look for more aggressive stuff out of their bot lane.
Yeah, I mean, I think this was kind of a special case because of like so many bot lane bans came in, so they kind of got like a really niche one. And then I don't know, TL Galio pick, I don't completely understand it. I know the Wombo's great and all, but I think a lot of things happen in this game. The only thing is, yeah, they need to win a lot more. And then the Thresh pick as well, like, you're not always going to land hooks like that. So they need a more like solid way to be able to replicate this win. I don't know if they can just like do this every game.
Considering that Keith and Golden Glue are both going to be going on to the Bud Light League Lounge later on today, I'm sure they're going to be feeling much better about that win. When we come back, though, Counter Logic Gaming will go up against Immortals here on Monday Night League, so don't go anywhere.
Peter.
Man, how do you think he can hear you?
Can I have everyone turned up? My mic is good, but just everyone else. Jesus Christ.
It's going to be first level 4 in that, and here's the Ignite, the Flay, big damage, the flash in. They can take down Double if they're behind him. Doing pretty well for himself, and Golden Glue suddenly is on the wrong side of this one. There is no way out.
I'm looking for kill.
I'm still staying.
Jarvan sub.
Fight for lantern, fight for lantern. Kill this guy.
He's done. Kill Galio.
Kill Galio. Woo!
End game.
End game.
Hit base.
Oh, he still live.
Hey!
And then. Let's
Go! You noobs!
I'm just kidding. You guys are good.
Every click,
Every frame.
Every press.
every sound.
They're playing aggressive.
I'll take mid. Every advantage.
When the difference
Between winning and losing,
is measured in milliseconds.
everything.
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 Everything counts.
The Alienware Legendary Battle Station.
So for me, my observations about 6A is that he's really, really instinctive in how he plays the game. I played with like Sven in the past, Sneaky in the past, and they usually have like a plan around what they want to do at most points of the game. But with 6A, it kind of like, oh, this feels good, so I'm gonna do this. But it usually works out, you know. So I can't really bash it because, yeah, I mean, when he feels something's off, he just calls it and just does something that he thinks is right. And most of the time it is right, because you know he's just like that, and he's always played like that, I think. So it's pretty. And for me, I'm kind of the opposite. I think about a lot of things in the game, and I want to plan stuff and like in minutes in advance, and that's just like it contrasts, you know. And I think that that's good for us in the long term because like some of the stuff I'm lacking, he has, and a lot of things that he's lacking, I have. So I think with more time, we'll gel and become a really good bot lane.
Welcome back to Monday Night League. Smoothie giving some of his words before we go into game number 2 of the day, but we wanted to switch things up here on Monday Night League, a whole new set. Are you any more comfortable over here than the desk side?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, anywhere I'm sitting, I'm happy, but with the cushion,
I miss all the stuff in front of me. I had so many props that I had like a ball I could throw. I have no props here. I guess
I got the arm, baby.
Yeah, I got a blanket. I guess I'll put that on.
Yeah, I was trying to see if I can make this a prop. I'm going to work on that in the meantime because we have to talk about Immortals. Last time we saw them, they had a really great early game versus 100 Thieves, and that had a lot to do not just with the jungler, but a whole different kind of zone or feeling around them in the first portion of the game.
Yeah, they were killing Someday a lot in the top lane with the Cho'Gath, and that was a weird one because before the game I was like, they're not going to go top. They're not going to play around Soaz killing Someday. That doesn't make sense. But they started going top, and they were just destroying them over and over again.
Yeah, I think Smithy deserves a lot of credit for that. It was a pretty repeated game plan over and over. They would he would get his flash blown in orange, go back, they come around again. And I think that's what we were...
They brought 3 one time, too.
Yeah, they also brought multiple people. And that's what we were expecting out of Smithy for, like, if Immortals was going to do well, it was probably going to be off the back of this big signing that they had. And that was the first game it really looked like him. A lot of the other games, there was, like, a moment that was good or maybe 2 moments, but it didn't actually net them that many leads.
Yeah, I think the Smithy popping off and having his early game plan is like a big win condition for Immortals, more than other teams.
But while that is a win condition for them, there is still the aspect of, well, if Smithy is going to be having to verse everyone else and really put all of this on his back, yeah, he's got a lot of titles and everything, but that's a very narrow win condition to put the team on.
Well, I think, yeah, until we see something out of this roster, it doesn't, like, there's no, like, big star player. I think even, like, Zabatine kind of mentioned it. He doesn't really believe in it, and I think the roster doesn't have it yet. So it's like, without this kind of, like, star power, like, who's going to be your trump card? And I think Smithy's probably the closest to the trump card they have.
Yeah, I mean, even Soaz, who had his best game, was once again on what he kind of considers dog champs. You know,
half dog.
Yeah, you said Cho was.
I still
Cho's half Cho dog? Does chow down.
Yeah,
so.
I think he's a little bit bigger on dog champ than you. But either way, it was like Soaz, we were all expecting, like, now that he's going to be one of the primary carries, he's going to be playing all this stuff.
Yeah.
And he's back on Cho'Gath, and that's when he does have his best performance.
So it seems like on the side of Immortals, they're starting to really kind of figure out what it is they need to capitalize upon to get more wins under their belt. But with the players about to hit into Champion Select, we want to send it over into the casters. So that's going to be it from us over here on this part of Monday Night League. Let's get into the game.
Thank you very much, Latigris. I am still Freak. Azael is still to my right.
I'm no longer Azael.
You are no longer Azael. Who have you become?
Freak Senior.
Freak Senior.
Maybe you should be Freak Junior.
Am I Freak Junior? Is there a third
I don't
somewhere?
know which is worse. Which is
what?
better?
Would you rather be the first or the second Freak?
I don't know.
I'm giving you the option.
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I didn't think this one through.
You didn't, which is, you know, par for the course for trying to be like me. You're already excelling in becoming Freak. This is incredible stuff right here. Champion Select has begun as Counterlogic Gaming and Immortals are doing battle. CLG with the dubious honor of being the only team left with 1 win, but they did look a whole lot better yesterday, especially their AD carry Stixxay.
They're only 1 game back from the 4-time champions.
That's
DL.
true. Yeah,
I
mean, and we have, aside from C9 sitting alone at 6-2, if CLG does, yeah, my brain just like wouldn't. My brain was like, oh, they're 2 games ahead, so I'm just going to put the 2 in the loss column, which is not accurate. Yeah, aside from C9, who's up there at 6-0, if CLG wins this, every team is within like 1 or 2 games of each other.
Yep,
so
only TSM has 4 right now. It is, 6 wins for Cloud9, for TSM. Immortals, if they win, are actually tied for second place, which I think is far beyond what a lot of people were expecting, despite the fact that there has still been kind of criticism levied their way. I think, fairly enough. It's not that they were playing perfectly, but they are picking up wins, right? And I think that this is, very good for them early on in the season, when this is a team who I think their goal is going to be playoffs, is making it there, and trying to kind of improve from that point. They've been looking a lot better than some of the established squads that we expected big things out of early on. I mean, CLG, one of those teams that a lot of people were looking at as top 3, top 4 in the league. They're sitting at 1-4 and looking like one of the teams that really does not have their stuff together.
Yeah, that's going to be an important thing to continue to watch. Is the new addition to the squad was Crown in the mid lane. He has not been having a good year. Very, very low damage. Arguably worst laning stats of any mid laner here in the league right now, and it then all falls to Stixxay. Stixxay's been pretty good. He had 1,000 damage per minute yesterday or the day before on that Aphelios game. Aphelios is banned. Xayah's taken. Falls to MF, which he played 2 hours ago on this stage in Academy, so he's warmed up on it, and he had a good game there. So I do want to see if Stixxay can put on another carry performance.
Yeah, I think it is a little bit rough for Stixxay too, because since he's playing both ways and both teams are doing poorly, I do feel like that has got to be even more draining for you. Yes, he did pick up a win in an Academy, but before that, it was like 6-7 losses in a row for him, as he hadn't played all of the Academy games. So, that is a bit tough, I think, mentally to get through. We also have to remember that they did get their win with Soraka, right? And I don't know if they're going to be able to get back to that pick, if that will be left available. Especially when we are going into the second round of bans here. Ornn has been picked. Soraka would be a good matchup into that if you want to go for that type of play. So I would not be surprised to see it banned away by Immortals if they're at all concerned about it, because so many people were giving credit for that victory to Soraka.
Sure. And of course, Immortals should be very willing to flex the Ornn to the mid lane and hold on for the final counter pick, which I think is going to be very, very likely. We should be seeing support pick next once the bans are through. We, of course, know CLG hasn't grabbed their support either, so that's going to be a fairly equal trade, and we'll continue to wait to see. There's Kiana off the table, which is what you see a lot when there's an Ornn on the squad, is get some extra damage output there with the Elise being a magic damage jungler. Yeah. You're allowed to play AD carry, tank, plus another AD damage.
I'm expecting CLG's last ban to probably be Rakan. I don't think you're really going to want to give over the Xayah Rakan combo for free. Yes, you can try to target another mid laner here for Ica, but there's so many. I don't think there's one absolute must ban. And generally speaking, Xayah is only really played with Rakan these days at pro level. A lot of people feel that it is a really important pick. Yeah.
Yeah, and even then, as you're mentioning, I wouldn't ban mid laners anyway, because he'll just play Ornn. Like if you had 17 bans and you ban like Orianna, LeBlanc, Zoe, whatever, it's like that's fine. I'm just gonna play Ornn, like whatever. So I was go play some more Cho'Gath, or who cares what. Nautilus gonna come through as the next go-to engage support. I still am quite partial to Leona myself, but not gonna be grabbed here. Just the standard Nautilus. And now we get to see CLG having to show who's playing top lane, and then let that Ornn pick the matchup. We know Rumble is likely to be mid here for Crown, and we'll see what Ruin's going to blind pick here.
So I think, to your point about Leona has higher highs, right? It is an incredibly strong champion. One of the things that you're always going to hear people talk about when they go to Nautilus is reliability. I put my mouse on the person, I press R, they're going to get knocked up, right? Where you can see the Leona ultimate flashed away from, dashed away from, avoided in many different ways. And that is more, I think, the concern a lot of times when these two champions are being compared. But it is going to be Leona with the possibility of kind of diving onto Xayah here. And Leona plus MF is a very strong kill lane. Leona can lock people down for the Misfortune ultimate. And you do have the ability, especially post 6, for these 100-0 combos.
Well, the expected blind top laner, Aatrox gets locked in. Of note, Soraka was still available to be picked, wasn't banned away. Immortals cared more about the Braum into Ornn. Obviously blocks the ultimate, pretty strong pick there. So now, Immortals can flex and choose the top laner they want to play. Cho'Gath GP was the top lane matchup last time around. Now, what is it going to be now that we know Aatrox is up there? And it's going to be Ornn staying up top and Azir coming into the mid lane.
Okay, very interesting. So it is going to be Azir into Rumble. Obviously, you are going to outrange the Rumble quite a lot, but Rumble does have very good push in the early game. Can kind of lock the Azir under the turret at times, and Azir is much more of that scaling pick. You do need time to get things going. Rumble, as soon as you hit 6, you really are ready to go to fight around these objectives. Ica, it seems like, is going to be kind of that late game insurance. There's a tremendous amount of scaling on the Immortals side. If it does go late, I favor their comp very heavily when you're taking into consideration the guaranteed engage between Nautilus and Ornn, the Ornn upgrades, as well as Xayah and Azir for those big hyper carries in the late stages. But CLG has a lot of ability to be able to make things happen early. Great gank assist, with this Leona. The ability to kind of group up with the Lee Sin and make things happen alongside some very powerful AoE ultimates with the Rumble on that. That is going to be great for fighting at neutral objectives, and that really has kind of been the name of the game in Season 10.
All right, well, here we go. Comps on your screen. We get more dog chance for Soaz, but his Cho'Gath was so good last time, might just see it again. It's going to be an interesting one to watch for. I think it's worth looking at Immortals as a squad, what they've done so far this year. They've had actually year-long a very, very bad early game. Them and CLG, the only squad under 1,000 average gold deficit at 15, but they slaughtered the early game last time around. If they can stay on that form, I expect a whole lot of work done for them.
And I think so much of that credit is deserved by Xmithy for that early game. He was incredible on the rec side, really felt like he was everywhere, making multiple trips up to the top side, being able to get advantages for Soaz, which he then made good on. We know he can get similar things done on the Elise, another really powerful early game ganker. So we'll see what he has in store for us here. One of the immediate things I'm looking to is I'm very surprised by the barrier on Rumble here for Crown. That is not something I've really ever seen taken here by Rumble. Generally, it is Ignite that is very, very common, and we could be actually in some trouble here.
That's going to be a lot of damage. The fullback has to learn and throw down the ward. Now, Lee Sin's pretty often learned W level 1 anyway. Yeah, that's not a huge loss, but has to burn the trinket, and gave Hakuo some padded stats and damage per minute.
Yeah, pushes him out a little bit, but generally if you're going to go defensive summoners as a mid laner and you're playing against Elise, you see a lot of cleanse, right? And there's a ton of CC there. But that being said, barrier is, if used well, a really, really powerful defensive summoner. It's going to absorb more damage than heal would heal you for, so that can be quite nice. And if you're looking at any potential kind of aggressive plays between Scrap Shield and Barrier, it can be surprising how much you can really absorb. Yep. One of the recent nerfs, though, to Rumble was that rank 1 Scrap Shield got nerfed quite heavily, and that is the last skill you actually do level up. Yeah, which means you're kind of sitting on that nerf Scrap Shield. I believe it was about 20 less shielding.
But I believe that nerfs the next patch. That's 10.3, right?
I thought that was already in.
I have actually kind of forgotten because the patch was like 13 days ago at this point.
Okay, so I could be wrong. Maybe that was 10.3 and not a 10.2.
Yeah, either way, though, that's going to be a really big deal.
Someone will let us know on Twitter.
Yeah, I'm pretty confident that's the 10.3 change. Regardless, though, we've got bot lane early push here for the Immortal squad. Hakuo doesn't want to look for the Q. He'd be practically next to the turret, and it'd be a pretty easy trade back. You can see Smoothie sits in front, says, I will be the one to tank the anchor. I will just Q right back and get my own Aftershock on, so that won't be much of a problem as they clear some minions back and forth.
Yeah, you kind of expect, I think, the Nautilus as well as the Xayah to have a bit of early push here. But that being said, as Stixxay does get some more levels under his belt, there is potential to kind of combat that. MF does have pretty good push of her own. And we are going to see them take this time to actually get a bit of a deep ward. And I think this is always really nice when you can kind of get a ward a little bit further into your opponent's jungle. You're often going to get more information from this. He sees that the Krugs are actually up with his ward that he did place there. You can see both these camps have been warded. The red buff was the start, which we already know is gone. So this gives you the information that Wiggly went to the top side. And as soon as Wiggly goes anywhere down on that bot side, it's going to be to one of those two camps. So they're going to have the information of where he would be.
Oh, good stuff then. We'll see if the Lee Sin can get anything done at all then, or if it's going to be a farm fest. Of note, Bruin has the highest jungle proximity of all top laners. And as Wiggly ends the topside jungle, he's up towards with his top laner pushing, trying to poach topside camps here as well, and looks like chickens are his, and Bruin's coming down to make sure that's going to stick.
Yeah, very interesting. You can see, again, warding on the other side. Both teams kind of just trying to track each other's junglers. Both these camps warded out. And it's Smithy, who knows Wiggly is still up on that top side, knew he hadn't shown on either of these camps. So he just says, all right, well, I'm just going to go straight in for the invade. And he will leave that last little Raptor alive. They're worth very little experience as far as the total picture. So it's almost always worth leaving one little Raptor up just as a counter jungling move, because so much of the experience is in that big Raptor. And now it is a 3-man play potentially towards that mid lane.
Well, state right now is a temporary Scuttle Crab lead for Wiggly as he's going to take the recall and come back with his red smite. But Smithy going to answer that pickup, and so the jungler's going to have very similar camps done and very similar CS overall. Smithy's going to stay out on the map, actually, and look towards the bottom side. I think he's kind of predicting the Lee Sin recall, and maybe he can cut him off at Krugs.
Yeah, we'll see if he does catch him there. Well, Smithy going to kind of get a little bit of the bad end of that timing. If he was a little bit later, Wiggly likely would have started that camp. And then if you spend the spells on it, at least can kind of take that fight. But because Wiggly did actually spot him on the way over there, and his bot lane is closer, it's really too risky of a play to move for.
And Crown knows Elise's bottom side, does get the vision, says hello, puts on the W. 80-point shield at rank 1, so it is pre-nerf scrap shield, and Crown feels comfortable here. Does have the CS deficit. I think that's kind of expected on the matchup. There's just enough damage coming out from the Azir that Crown has to be respectful, and gets what he can, overheats again. Decent damage. Oh, that's actually the first slow. This is so much damage, Ica! You're gonna get punched again! Has to burn the flash. If that E landed, he was dead. And Crown could have flashed for the Q and chose not to.
You have barrier. Why did you not flash for that kill? That's a guaranteed kill. Even if someone comes and actually gets you afterwards, that should have been first blood there for Crown. And honestly, a pretty big mistake, it seemed like, from Ica. I think he just did not save a soldier to actually be able to E backwards. And Crown recognized that, went for the all-in play. If he had Ignite, it would have been a free kill. Even without it, though, I think that should have been a kill.
Well, at the very least, it's a recall and it relieves some lane pressure. But yeah, that could have been so much bigger in the mid lane. And Crown, who's been having some troubles this year, finally gets at least a win in the laning phase, even if only moderate.
The question is, can you make good on that advantage? Can you actually punish him for being down the flash? Because if you can't, then who cares, right? You really didn't get much from it. Maybe we'll be able to call up Smoothie and try to make a 3-man play, try to get something done there. There's no cleanse, obviously, on Ica, so Leona plus Wiggly coming over, you can maybe punish that, but I think that should be the focus for CLG for the next couple minutes. You really want to get something out of that.
Well, right now it's back to farming for the junglers here as Ruin's trying to shove in top side and has a decent CS lead, but Soaz should pick up a lot of this.
Yeah.
Make it close yet again. These aren't going to be too big of issues, and here comes the Q. Here comes the W. Look at all that beautiful AoE damage. Slam!
Yeah, nicely cleared out there, and we'll see if we can use back up to actually get the rest. Only missed one, so really good CSing by Soaz, sitting pretty much dead even here with Ruin. We knew that Wiggly was playing a lot on that top side of the map because of the warding that they had done, so he was going to have to sit back in the early lane. That is kind of where Orin can sometimes get an advantage in these melee matchups, and that was taken away from him. So credit to Soaz for being up farm in that situation.
Merkrez rushed in for Crown. As yeah, the top gets shoved in, gonna get caught down by Ruin, and we can see some mid lane pressure coming out a little bit.
Yeah, barrier plus the Merkrez. Very, very defensive setup here from Crown. We'll see what he can get done. It is Xmithy moving his way towards mid lane. And we look for a bit of a play here. I think Immortals are sensing the fact that CLG may want to try to capitalize on that flash being down, so they were trying to be in that area too.
Oh! Wow, now he burns his own flash by face-checking Hakuo, and oh, now that mid difference is gone entirely. The TP was burned to get the minions back for Ica, and yeah, he's still up about a wave of farm overall, so yeah, I'd really do whatever that would have looked like with a kill for Crown, but end of the day, that's the game state we're in. 600 gold lead for CLG overall. Gigantic lead in the bottom side. You're seeing okay, it's gonna be more like a 10 CS difference as Altec clears this out, but Altec and Hakuo have been having a pretty weak landing phase of late. Xmithy gonna find the stun and the re-engage. Blue is stolen, but Smoothie can just walk away back to his teammate. And a blue steal is gonna look really good against Nazir.
Yeah, Stixay actually has it, and that was smoked with 1 HP by Wiggly.
Nice.
Where Stixay then did get it, which leads me to believe was not an intentional donation of that blue buff.
Counting.
Stixay gonna be happy to receive it nonetheless.
This Drake is gonna go over, but you should take the last hit here. Extra 50 gold, sorry, 50 XP for killing the monster yourself, and indeed grabs that one. CLG still remaining 200 gold up, plus the Cloud Drake, plus the blue steal.
Yeah, and with that blue buff down on the bottom side, you can just kind of liberally use your spells a lot more as the MF. You don't have to worry too much about that, so should give them a bit of an edge there and help them to maintain the advantage that they've already created for themselves.
Yep. Here comes the Q spam. Hakuo takes one of them. He's coming up in a second. He's going to drop that one down as well and just keep the spells going. Should feel comfortable for the next minute and a half or so.
Yeah, so not too much time until Ica has that flashback, you know, about a quarter of that cooldown left, so a little bit over a minute. And, you know, no visits really from CLG towards that mid lane, so no advantage now has been gained from that pressure that Crown got. Could have been a solo kill. Didn't really get to follow up on this, and this is one of the things that I think, you know, CLG at times has been getting criticized for, is not capitalizing on the advantages where they can find them, but then they go.
Sonic Ignite is on Aqua, should die for this, and the ult makes it happen. First blood, CLG in the 2-on-2.
Nicely done there by CLG, punishing using this level 6 MF. They have the blue buff, they get a little bit of poke down, and commit to Summoners, 3 blown, but they are going to be able to grab this kill. So let's watch this one more time. There is a ward down for CLG, so they have full vision of this. Hakuo pretty low, and the Zenith blade does follow over. It was a well-buffered hook from Hakuo, but then flash to follow. The Ignite goes down, ultimate to be able to finish that off. So just a little bit of an overextension from this Immortals bottom lane. And post 6, you have got to respect MF plus Leona. It is an incredibly strong kill lane, and SOAS is trying to push this in so they could dive.
Maybe even
he's
baiting
so
this
low.
fight, but Smithy goes the other way around, so no dive. In fact, Miniway wasn't there in time anyway, but can he bait more of the fight? That's the second Q down, gets away from the cocoon, and Ruin shouldn't have too many issues here, but Smithy has the red buff, has to be a little respectful. Here comes more of the squad, though. Wiggly's there, but so is Hakuo in the brush.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where when all of a sudden, the opposing top laner has been playing fairly passively, starts trying to aggressively shove in the wave, you're like, it might be getting dove, right? So Ruin tries to clear out the wave, tries to contest for that, and as a result, SOAS had to use the ultimate early. He would have just died straight up in a continued 1v1. This is a dangerous TP, though. Can they actually punish? No.
Takes the Spiderling and walks away. Lanes haven't moved around, though. Keep in mind that Ica spent a lot of time towards the top side as the Xayah picked up the mid lane wave. Crown shoves one in, but no one is bot lane right now. That is farm just kind of going to waste, minions killing each other. CLG plenty of time to go top side. 10-minute rip throw and play does come through. Wiggly grabs it.
And Immortals are just going to give it up. They're not going to actually decide to contest there. The TP was not available for SOAS. They did recall on a couple members, so they're actually going to send Azir down to the bottom side now. We're going to have Altec here, parked out in that mid lane, looking to try to catch up a little bit on the farm, as 6A very rich in this game, 700 gold ahead of that next closest member, who is in fact Altec.
Yeah, 400 gold for the first blood, and the rest of that is all CS, as he's got a fairly close game otherwise, but you see a 1,200 gold lead for CLG. That's, I mean, mountains above what they typically are in the early game. They've had very rough trials in the early game, but Immortals give them the openings. Bot lane has been a sore point in their early game.
Yeah, and they have a couple minutes to drop this Rift Herald, right, and extend that lead even further. So we'll see where they're going to elect to go with that. You can see Leona and Lee Sin heading down towards that bottom side. It does look like they want to try to make a move over towards the Azir. We'll see if Ica is going to be able to respond to this or actually spot it out, as a ward did get placed down and is being pinged out. So they're trying to kind of sneak around it. We'll see if they can actually look to make this play, because there are a lot of members missing, so Ica may have sussed this out.
6A knows he's got no vision anywhere. A lot of control through the mid lane, plays very far back. There's the ult for the slow. The second stun's gonna land as well. Ica could not possibly get away, and a 3v1 finds the kill.
Yeah, very well done by CLG. It's a good roam, and tracking of the vision was key there. You know, they were not lazy on tracking where those wards did go down. There was a lot of pings that went down on the Immortals ward in the area. As a result, they get the kill. They still have Rift here. They're trying to knock down multiple turret plates, and they're actually looking for a dive on McSmith.
Dive. Barriers takes a couple of turret shots. There's Repel back into the air. He's going to stay alive for now, but there's still a wave. But the wave is now gone. Red Smite means damage could be prevented. And here comes the rest of the squad now as well. Altec finds Smoothie, cannot be knocked up either. A lot of damage coming through, finds a stun, but there's no way Smoothie's gonna drop down for this one. And Ica is back in the mix as well, wants to pick off Crown. He's so low on health, a couple more shots would kill him. McSmith, they gotta look for something after the slows. Oh, and after those autos come in, Crown is running for dear life, has to flash just in case there is a play. Maybe could have saved it, but really tight timing there, just barely lives.
Yeah, he's going to be able to get out, but Smoothie did go down, and now the dive on 6A.
Oh, he is definitely gone for that one. Somebody heal not gonna matter. Altec picks someone up with SOAS setting it through.
Yeah, great roam from SOAS. We saw that the ultimate was dropped early by 6A. He was just trying to clear the wave. He knew that there were down members on the map. They just lost on that bottom side.
Oh, he jumps over a bit more than he wanted. He's running out of health, but he's got a flash. The flash follow. Wiggly kills himself.
Yeah, Wiggly just kind of charged right in there, assumed that SOAS would already be gone. Instead, he is not. He is going to give his life, and it will be a dragon going Immortals' way. So CLG getting very, very sloppy in these last couple of minutes. They have made some positive plays, but the last couple ones have been all Immortals. As we're going to see this bottom lane play one more time. Snuck around that ward. It did actually look like you could see him walking into the brush. I'm not sure if that was Spectator bug or not. There may have been a small window where Ica could spot that. Either way, they got the initial kill. Then I feel like you could just get the first plate and drop the Herald, and you could probably potentially challenge for that. Instead, they overdove, they get punished there. 6A pretty low, knows he has to ult out the wave, but SOAS is already here. Great knock up straight into that Blade Caller. from Alltech, and that was just a really well-coordinated dive.
Yeah.
Not giving 6A any chance who had no flash.
Yep, nothing 6A could have done aside from not test the wave, but it's seductive. You can so easily ult the wave and not be caught, but again, so as great roam. Give him credit for that one there. Ica maybe should have just flashed the Solar Flare when he first saw it, because he wasn't locked out until that landed. That could have been available. Maybe that would have changed things around, but here's the game state, 300 gold difference.
And when we checked in last on the gold, it was actually Stixay, 700 gold up on Alltech, and that has now swung around despite the fact that they won lane, they were up in farm. It is actually a 300 gold advantage for Alltech because he has picked up 3 straight kills. He got the Smoothie kill on the overdrive. He also picks up the kill on Stixay in the mid lane, so he's been a beneficiary of a couple of these plays. And now the Rift Herald just gets dumped bot lane, post plates being down.
Yeah.
And it's not going to get a turret kill, so really not getting the most out of this from CLG. Really just felt like they could have dropped it on that previous play.
At least it's going to be some damage, but you're right, the turret should stay alive. They don't want to commit too far because Hako's right there, and that would have been dangerous for Crown, who's flashless. Yeah, that's agreed by CLG. They thought they could get 2 plates down, then summon is the pretty standard play. Get it to half, then charge in with the true damage. That didn't happen.
Yeah, and they're now trying to set up a dive here on Crown. 4 members coming in here. He's getting completely surrounded. He is going to get the wave.
Catch all the melees, though, and that actually creates a lot of space. He's got to be careful. Does juke the first bit, but that's an easy ult on top. Barrier won't change much. They knock him down. That ult needed to be a bit farther back. He had to walk up to clear the minions.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough, right? You know, I just don't think there's any outplaying that 4-man dive with point and click ultimate from Hawkwell. It was a good sidestep, but I do agree, ultimate could have been placed better. Either way, Crown goes down, barrier expended there too. But it is Ruin pushing topside. Throughout all of this, Ruin has just been kind of parked up in that top lane trying to get advantages. You know, we saw that roam to mid lane from Soaz. Ruin stayed up there the whole time, so he has extended a CS advantage and actually has a bounty purely through that CS edge that he now has. So we'll see if he can use some of the gold he has been able to pick up to make up for the deficit his team has been kind of getting elsewhere, because right now he is the entire lead for the squad.
Alrighty, 1,000 gold difference going to be halved as Alltech gets some more solo gold, and look at him moving up to 6,800 gold earned, still highest in the game. And Immortals looking to tie for second with a win here, and they are in striking distance of making that happen.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think when you take into consideration the compositions, when you take into consideration the scaling and teamfighting prowess and ease of execution, I think Immortals are in a great position right now. I think that they're honestly pretty heavily in the lead. All things considered, the Mountain Dragon more valuable than it would normally be for this squad too, because there's 2 real tanks. You have Leona and the Ornn, so they're getting a lot out of that bonus armor and MR, where normally you're not getting as much if you're playing kind of these pure carry style teams. So they're in a great spot, and we'll just have to see if they can execute on that, because CLG had been looking good, had created some early game advantages, but kind of flubbed on them.
Yeah, and that's going to be rough, right? When you want to play aggressively and all you do is give gold away, you kick yourself, and you got to make sure, though, to play League right, you still have to play aggressively, right? You know, you miss all the shots you don't take. Thank you, Michael Scott, for that one. And otherwise, it's a stun on the front line, and now the equalizer on the top looks pretty good. The stun, good cleanse by Alltech, and it forces a lot of flashes out. Layering of ultimates is pretty good, forcing summoners out of Immortal.
Yep, they get the flash off Xmithy, they get the cleanse off Alltech, so a great proactive play, but here's Ornn to clear out the way.
Oh, 3 knockups, I think it was. This could be a really good re-engage. Ica, already burns the E to get across the wall, can't find the second bit of it.
Yeah, I like the ulti there a lot from Soaz. Pushes them back, helps to clear the wave. Wiggly gets poked low, so in the end, it is just kind of this trade of abilities. The flash out from Smoothie, the flash out from Xmithy. They do go up as far as the one summoner spell with that cleanse expended by Alltech, but all things considered, pretty even. Ruin, though, looking like he should be able to grab this bot lane tower, so we'll see, can there be anything answered on the top side? It looks like Immortals are going to try to trade Rift Herald for that bottom tier 1.
Well, at this point, Herald is essentially half a turret in expected value, and, well, finishing this half of the turret is generally more positive than a random half of a random turret, so that is a nice one there. Ruin up 35 CS in the matchup and shoving in the 1v1 pretty easily.
Yeah, when you look at the fact that they're actually going to be able to grab the Ocean Dragon here too, becomes a pretty nice trade for CLG. They grab the turret, they grab the Ocean Dragon. We'll see how much Immortals can get on this. They are pushing in top lane, so maybe you're going to be able to drop the Rift Herald there, but you know, Immortals actually on a reset after that Rift Herald, they lose the mid lane turret too, so losing a lot in this last 2 minutes.
Okay, so look at this now. Turret is answered. That means we are only at the 1,000 gold difference, 19 minutes into the game. But second Drake picked up by CLG. We go towards Therapy Rift with the nice extra flowers as mid is pushed down though. 3 versus 2 is safe enough for CLG as Flame Spitter knocks down most of these minions. And here comes the charge. There is the turret falling, so can't fault them too much for that one. But it looks like again it looked like they were slightly out of range on the local gold, but I think my eyes were tricking me there.
Yeah, pretty much dead even as far as the gold does go now, though. There is the 1 dragon advantage for CLG. The Orin upgrades now coming in for Orin. A tremendous amount of value in Sunfire plus Abyssal. Those are the 2 most valuable as far as just the raw additional stats you will get from these items. Obviously a pretty popular topic of conversation, it seems, in Season 10.
Yeah.
But we'll see where else his teammates are going to go as far as the items to be built that can be upgraded first. You know, I'm looking immediately at Altec, thinking that Infinity Edge is going to be coming in there. That could be the first target with the Molten Edge. A very strong upgrade as you get a lot of flat AD with that.
That's going to be really nice. Level 13, you can give it over, and it's going to be a really good amount of stats. Soaz is about a wave away from that, so as soon as the item comes through, which, you know, Altec is about 800 gold from having that. That's going to look really nice for him. Still this tight game, 500 gold difference, and if you count Orin items as gold, the Immortals are technically winning in inventory. What if this is face check? What if they land this? Look at the call! They knew he was there, it forces the flash away. That was in fog, but they knew he had to be recalling in that brush.
Yeah, that's just a great ultimate from Smoothie. Has the confidence to go for it. They do get the flash out of Ica. Stoneplay also now completed for Smoothie, so he's going to be very, very tanky if it does come to that 5v5. If you can get in the midst of things, have the Aftershock up, have your W on, and that Stoneplay can become so damn hard to kill until those start to expire.
Gold is tied, though. Immortals managed to pick up enough waves that they've tied up the game overall. 3 minutes, the next Drake comes through. CLG don't think they're in such a great position to really take that one over, so I don't think Soul is going to be an obvious sort of point of this game. Mid-turret summoned there by Ica to keep some more mid-control for a few more seconds as they just go ahead and run over the top river. They're going to have easy control over all that.
Yeah, moving up towards that top side, and they do have really good Baron damage. So that's something that CLG is always going to have to be nervous about anytime you do not have vision in this area. And for now, it is really good vision all around here for Immortals, right? This whole area is basically only their wards.
I feel like actually that could have been snuck. Now that's a bold call. I'm not saying they should have snuck it, but I don't think CLG ever did anything to recheck on that top of the pit unless there's a ward I'm missing, but
no,
realistically,
there's nothing in there.
That theoretically just could have been a sneak out of nowhere. And just to kind of, you know, symbolize the point you made.
Yeah, it is definitely possible. And anytime there's a Zir alone, you have got to be very, very scared. And then a Zir plus Saya, that is really, really, really fast. And Molten Edge now has been completed. Double Orin upgrade is completed. So that's many thousands of gold of additional. You know, Orin alone is getting over 3,000 gold worth of stats for those 2 items. The Infinity Edge upgrade is another 1,000 or so gold extra. So quite powerful. And when you take that into consideration, you're looking really at like 40,000 gold worth of value there for Immortals.
Here we go. Look at the ult under the mid lane, but it only really catches Smoothie. Doesn't mean a whole lot there. A quick slow towards Soaz, but he's so tanky, of course. 3,000 gold after, sorry, 3,000 health even after being injured, but Ruin wants in. Lands the passive, lands the first knockup. They can get more here onto Soaz. W comes in, but they're going to find the stun right afterwards, and Soaz will be knocked down, but Crown will be chased here as well. They've got the damage. A 1-for-1, a trade of soul in, but a flash over the wall. Ica is flashless, ultiless, knocked up yet again, and cannot get away. Smoothie with the body block sadly takes both kills, but deserved those all the same.
Yeah, that was really well done, and Soaz thought he could get out of there without blowing his flash. By the time he actually expended it, it did nothing for him. He wasn't able to create any meaningful distance. CLG will get those 2 kills on the solo laners and this mid lane tier 2. Another good trade for them. Yes, they did lose Crown, but pretty expensive fight, you've got to say, here for Immortals. And it was the initial engage for them, but they only caught Smoothie with that knockup, and then it is this slow retreat. Ruin comes in, and Soaz splits up from the team. He needed to go left, I think, to the rest of the team. And then the Infernal Chains here, that I think is where you need to kind of flash over the wall early. He waits, gets locked down, does get punished, and it's another kill now for Immortals as Wiggly died and blew flash during that replay. So back and forth, members getting caught out.
Yeah.
Looked like Wiggly was probably trying to set up for that dragon, but Immortals with the jungle advantage now here are going to be able to grab an easy dragon.
Yeah. And it didn't cost Immortals an ult or a flash or anything. Hakuo's ult's still on cooldowns. They just caught him out with maybe just an anchor toss into the feathers.
Yeah.
It was enough, so it ties the Drake score here. Both these squads going to have one Ocean. The gold difference is still about 1,000 to CLG's favor. They're squeaking that by once in a while, but it's still a pretty reckless game in the mid game.
And Ocean Soul is going to be very, very big if we are going late, where it kind of feels like this game does go. I think it is the most powerful Soul by quite a lot. It feels like the easiest to kind of get a lot of use out of in almost every fight. It's going to be tremendously valuable. And you know, the effective HP it's going to give you almost always feels like it's much more than the Mountain Soul, unless you're getting 100 to 0'd, in which case Mountain can be better. But you know, especially when I've been fighting against tanks, I always feel like Ocean Soul on someone like Orin, it feels like you can never kill him, right?
Yeah.
You're not going to 100 to 0 this character. He's going to have the Ocean Soul ticking for that health constantly throughout the fight, and it just makes it so you take so damn long to punch through that front line that any sort of reasonable play from carries usually wins you the fight.
Well, 10 minutes ago till Soul comes in, if it does at any point. Until then, you can be a bit less respectful of the possibility of those healing. If it does come through, though, you do want to see Merlin halves the value of a Soul in any reasonable situation, and that's going to be about the best value you can find. We'll see if that comes through later on, though. Still, neither team is close to it.
Yeah, quite a long ways off. Just the way that these two teams have been playing, it feels like they only really want to fight around objectives. They only really want to kind of look for that. Ruin has been very happy to just sit heavily in the side lane and try to create his own advantages there. But it is now the collapse coming in on him. So as the ult.
Does get the knockup. Here comes Ghost as well through the spell book. They're going to have a really good chase down. A single knockup is had, but they're going to find even more with Ica. Comes in with the first Soldier. Ruin ults for more moves. That's going to get him out, but now they're re-engaged. That's pretty good bullet time damage. But can they find round 2 in the 4v3? It's Immortals just walking away, losing 2 summoners, actually 3.
This could be Baron. I think CLG will just run right for it. That bullet time chunked so many members low. I think you should just start this, and they will. So it's going to be Immortals forced to get right back out on the map. Xmithy now has no flash, had to reset. Soaz is on the other side of the map, needs the TP to even get here.
Xmithy flashless, does have repel. The vision has been mostly cleared out. It's down to half HP. Equalizer not available as the squad comes around. So on the bottom side, already TP'd now as well. Do they go for the play? Do they go for the smite? Do they go for the fight? And here comes the play on the front side. Big damage and a Crown has to kite away. Just staying alive. Smoothie drops a start, a kick out of 3, but they can't get the re-engage. Counterlogic aiming out of health, out of cooldowns, and running for dear life. Ica slowed. One out of the burn. Leandri's Torment is the torment of the Immortals mid laner as the blue goes over now as well. A 1-for-1 trade of support for mid. That could be a re-engage at some point for CLG.
Yeah, that final kill swinging things in the favor of CLG, but Immortals, that initial team fight looked very, very good for them. CLG could not get past the front line. It was Hakuo and Soaz absorbing all of the damage with the stone plate pop, and the carries were in a really good position here. It's all about Altec and Ica. You have to be able to get past the others to get onto them. They were not able to do so. Smoothie engaged onto Xmithy, who dropped the early Zhonya's usage, buying a lot of time, and then a good kick from Wiggly to knock multiple tanky members through each other. You know, pretty good damage there, but yeah, one shot over the wall from 6A plus the burn coming through on Crown was enough to actually kill off Ica. We are seeing, though, a little bit of a preview of why it can be so difficult for CLG to fight against Immortals in the later stages of the game.
Big damage there. Scorch, Comet, Leandries. Adds a lot on the end for just single E. And now we're 90 seconds from the next Ocean Drake. It's not Soul for either squad, but feels like pushing towards that. This is one of those points where the Soul might determine who wins the game.
Yeah, it really could. And this 3-item kind of power spike, when that is hit by Altec and Ica, who are closing in on that, I really do think that they have kind of officially outscaled at that point. I really do give them heavily an edge in the team fight stage. So we'll see if they're going to be able to get anything done there. Ruin is the guy who is up a level, who has 3 items earlier than Orin. But it's so hard to actually get meaningful turret damage down as the Aatrox and Orin, who has such strong wave clear, without really kind of putting yourself in danger.
Good meaningful damage. Wiggly nearly caught out, but does ward hop back to his teammate. CLG, though, hatching wards right now. They don't have the sweeper available just yet. Only 2 on the entire squad, and Ruin's running back to the bottom side right now, so it's Immortals getting some vision control. Xmithy, always a huge leader in vision score. Actually, him and Hakuo tend to lead the league every year in their respective roles for vision, so Immortals doing a lot with ward killing.
Yeah, I mean, at least then you can kind of give a little bit of a pass because often you're saving wards for ward hops, but look at the vision score between the 2 junglers. 34 vision score there for Wiggly compared to 74 for Xmithy. Has been getting much more done as far as clearing out those wards and placing wards that effectively spot the enemy.
You wouldn't take this? Doesn't have any energy. He takes it, actually. Okay. Wiggly, what did you do there?
Me.
What did you do there? I'm not happy about that play. Cocoon's going to land. They don't even kill the ward. Smoothie got to be careful. Knock up only the support, though. It's not that bad. That's ulti down, and he goes for the re-engage. The ult's going to miss, but the bullet time over the top is damage towards Soaz, and Xfinity should be an easy target. The kickback is going to set him right into that one. Wiggly stays safe, but does burn his flash. Q's going to land. Don't do it. Don't do it. The teammates are right there. He goes for it, and just the stopwatch. It's 1 HP out to Xfinity. He's running away. Oh my gosh, Wiggly gives me heart's attack the entire time in this fight.
Yeah, but they do come out on top. They get another kill there onto Soaz. So many spells expended to actually kill off that frontliner. Xfinity and Soaz, they had the equalizer dropped on them. Xfinity barely does slink away, which is key, and I think that's all that stopped CLG from running straight towards that Baron. But a good kill will get them control of the Dragon area. 6A is going to start to solo this up, and they can, with this, maintain control on the other side of the map too, around the Baron.
Well, solo point here. He ruined the pun. Ruin showed up. It was a... Okay. Well, that one goes down.
You tried.
I certainly did. And unfortunately, it didn't go through, but we still got a very tight game. CLG on soul point. Only 1,500 gold lead. Watch that fight yet again.
Yeah, so this is one more time, right? It's all about kind of contesting for the vision here. Smoothie, the only one hit by the Ornn ultimate. Not a great Ornn ult from Soaz. Then the bullet time, layered with the equalizer in this tight corridor. You could see the main squad there from Immortals, kind of on this right side of your screen, was really zoned out by Ruin. Ruin moved forward, pushed Altec and Ica back, and by doing that, allowed them to engage aggressively and spend all this time focusing down the front line of Soaz. So really good team fighting there from CLG to kind of section it off and set themselves up in a way where Altec and Ica just weren't a factor.
Well, the item spike's coming through. You can see both AD carries have finished their third big BF sword item, so huge AD stacks there. As we look down the line, 3 major items done for Ruin. Not the case yet for Soaz, just the stat efficiency of his passive. Ica moving towards the stats cap. That'll be huge when it comes through, but he's still about 2,000 gold away from finishing that one.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. You know, Ica just bought the Lost Chapter and basically just sat on that, used it more just for the laning phase.
That's a stun, now traded back, and they bullet time this. They go for the play into Smithy. Did have flash, but there's the slow. There is the ulti over the top, and there's the flash burn for that one. Ult
Ruin
for flash. Turret comes up. I don't think you take this fight, CLG. You can wait out those timers. Wait till your own ults are back up. It's going to be about a minute still for bullet time.
Again, so much of the emphasis here, just put on Ruin, getting a split push advantage, getting a CS advantage, and he's nearly 100 CS up now on Soaz because Soaz is grouped with the team, and Ruin is farming it up in a side lane. But they have no vision right now in that brush. Unfortunately, Immortals didn't actually clear out the pink ward in the Baron pit, so they didn't have to face check this, and now they have vision of this starting up. Are they going to try to burn this down? This seems incredibly risky.
Is marking. Smoothie walks to the front. Here comes
Ruin on the
Immortal. Right back. Ruin's in the back. Ruin can do a whole lot here. Gets some bit of damage to its 50. Here comes the hard engage. 3v1, but he's staying alive. Here comes the Ornn over the top now as well. Big damage, big stun to the backside. Ruin stopwatch, but he doesn't have a good way out of this one. Takes another route. Has to run back, but he's so low on health. Jumps over the wall. He's a shield to stay alive. And 6A chases down Xmithy. CLG withstand that battle and have now pushed Immortals away, who are now missing their smite. If they wanted the Baron play, Smite still wouldn't happen. Scribes does a lot here to track the movements. And here comes the TP. They're going for the play, CLG.
Yeah, they are starting this up. I'm not sure if Soaz has a Smite available with the spellbook, and he can swap over to that. But a lot of key abilities on cooldown, and the Immortals are just saying, we're going to have to give this up. They're going to back it up, seed the Baron, and CLG will get a major advantage in this game. Baron buff will be active with this next Ocean Dragon spawning.
Counter Logic Gaming had a 0-4 start to the league and looking like a 2-0 weekend. We watch that fight yet again.
And a lot of this really is about the pressure that Ruin creates, right? This is this guy that they've been putting so many resources into, spending so much time in the side lane. As a result, he's level 18 and incredibly tanky. He buys so much time with that stopwatch and is not able to be knocked down. It allowed 6A to get time, run all the way around that outside, get on top of Xmithy and actually take him down. Despite the fact that it looked like a great Ornn ultimate from Soaz, again, this is another fight where Altec and Ica were not connecting with the correct members, and the positioning in the team fights just seems to be better from CLG in these last couple ones.
Just bit by bit, they're making it happen. We can see the game state here is about a 3,000 gold lead to Counter Logic Gaming. Baron buff on for 2 minutes, and Dragon Soul spawns in 75 seconds. That should go to CLG. Immortals need to plan, craft some kind of a play around that eventuality. CLG should be doing the same.
I mean, I think Immortals have got to contest for it. I don't think you can give over an Ocean Soul and expect to win the game. It feels like it would be such a low chance to be able to take this if you do give that up. But at the same time, you know, what have they really got to be able to kind of move forward? We've seen that CLG have the ability to actually just focus the front line, to knock them down when they are kind of split up from the rest of the squad. Stixxay has had good bullet times across the top. One of the things that you can notice, though, is Stixxay does not have any of his summoners. You know, both the Flash as well as the heal are on cooldown, so that's something that could look to be preyed upon. Perhaps an ultimate coming through from Mako, and maybe you can get access to that backline.
Okay, this is the last mid lane wave that matters. 25 seconds, the Drake spawns. CLG going to be the second one to pick it up. The next wave meets the time that the Drake comes up. So that is a bot lane push that works for Ruin. Takes that one down. Mid lane cleared away by Stixxay, gets the shield. And here comes Immortal sitting into this bottom side of the map, taking over the right side jungle. Ruin sitting on a control ward, waiting to see what Immortals might do.
They've got to be quick, though, because this is 5 seconds until spawn, and if Immortals don't have vision on all of them, it could just get rushed down. But for now, they are contesting around this mid lane. They see they have not started the up. They know Ruin is over to the side, but again, they're just going to rush it, and you're just giving this up.
Gives it away. Dragon Soul picked up, and with Baron buff, oh, this could be such a sick play, though. Do they get them separated? Is this somehow the big play? They're going for the push on the mid, and it's going to be another recall stop, though. Smoothie, to be fair, it's a 4v3 for CLG elsewhere as they recall, but Smoothie will have to burn Flash to get away. Puts on the shield. They're going to run and chase him down as best they can. They might pick up a kill for this one. Burns the ult. They're trying to slow him down. The knockups are there. Smoothie.
He's got Ocean Soul.
Yeah, he's tanky, but they're going to find the re-engage. Ult for damage. They will burn him down. You have to. No way. Okay. The kill is picked up, but that's not maybe as bad as it looks. It's mid lane tier 2 going down, and Immortal's going to kill for a bit of map control.
I don't know. I mean, it felt like such a reach. You know, I get the idea. All right, give them the dragon, but then we stop the recalls and we take the base. But are you really ever going to be able to stop enough members who have Baron recall in that position? I think if there wasn't Baron on CLG, it could have been a good call. But in this case, even with just Crown getting back to base, he can equalize the wave if it's ever threatening. You know, there was no Baron buff on Immortal's side, so now you've given over Ocean Soul. Yes, the Baron buff has expired, but with how Immortals have been playing out these last couple of team fights, I question whether they're going to have enough actual damage in the tank to be able to win out on these fights.
Well, the math lines up as 250-ish health over 4 seconds in a team fight, right? So it's 50 some odd health per second, which not trivial, obviously. If you want to compare it directly to a Mountain Soul, it's about 5 seconds of in-combat time, makes it equal. But I do want to highlight that Altec has picked up Executioner's Calling, and that's a pretty important factor. So if he manages to hit the right targets, okay, now it takes 8 seconds, 9 seconds to equal what a Mountain Soul does. If the fights are shorter than that, you know, you can make the comparison, maybe Ocean Soul isn't hard winning the game for you. If they are slow fights, though, and with how Rune's been playing it, with the stopwatches on CLG, it's likely to be the case. This will do a lot of heavy lifting as the fight goes on.
Yeah, they also have the triple Ocean Dragon, so that's going to be even more regen on top, and it is very difficult to have, you know, Executioners applied across the whole squad at the same time, but we will see. You know, there is possibilities of bursting people down, but generally speaking, if you can't insta-kill people against Soul, you will not be killing them at all.
Yep, it adds up, especially as you mentioned, the missing health heal remains in combat this season, and if the fight is slow, yeah, CLG is going to stay topped off. So, Baron buff is gone. We know the Elder Dragon spawning in about 3 minutes. CLG is back to controlling mid. Guardian Angel in there for Wiggly. Ruin level 18, Crown level 18, Stixxay at 17. He's got plenty of stats here as well. Rapid Fire Cannon done on the one side. Hurricane picked up for Altec, which again, I think makes sense when you've got an Executioner's build going on. You need to make sure you can apply that debuff.
And 4 essentially melee champions. Yeah. Right? Well, 4 just pure melee champions, so there should be targets for him to hit. And Immortals will have opportunities to be able to win these team fights, but they have got to be, you know, better set up when it comes to that team fight. They have oftentimes not really been, you know, having correct battle lines, not having their carries able to actually connect with the targets that are being CC'd by their tanks. You have to be really organized in that way. And it does get really, really hard in the side lane because for Ornn, there's just actually no chance you're ever going to kill Ruin no matter what he does at this point with Spirit Visage plus Death Stance plus the Ocean Soul. So, you know, if CLG want to commit to a split push style of play, you can actually just start to ignore the towers and just be hitting this guy over and over and over, hitting the tower, chipping it down.
Okay, Baron, in 8 seconds, and CLG says this is the objective that wins us the game, and they are poised to do so. A 4,000 gold lead, they've shot, they've got the soul. and there's no easy epic monster to contest here. Baron is on the map. They're hitting it already. Smoothie is going to be marking the opposing team. Ruin sitting on the far side of the flank, ready to ult him when a fight does start. Wiggly infinitely tanky against Baron here. A little bit of poke comes through. He's got the shields, he's got the soul. There's Ruin finding a spot onto Ica. Can't get across the wall. That was Smoothie. Just only finds that single stun. There's the ult over the top. Pretty decent, finds some slows, but they can't get any kills. And that is ulti and ulti down. 3 burned with only 2 down on the Immortal side.
Yeah, flash off of Ica, and you can see the ability for them to just continuously go back to this Baron. They're going to have Ruin just push out this wave, and unless there's a lot of focus on him, you're not going to be able to just poke him down whatsoever. So CLG are going to look to try to have these extended plays. Ica does reset, though, during this time, and is able to hold on to his teleport also, which is a pretty big deal.
Okay, looking again. CLG pushing in the mid lane, and once again turning it around. Single Cloud Soul on them means they've got some of those ults back already. Aatrox, Leona, Misfortune. Leona's close here. MF had hers from last time. Sweep the ward, they finally kill it. Now once again, mid lane, turret is summoned. It remains mid lane control for Immortals. Ica a few seconds away from the ulti being available on that side. Smoothie once again holding the front line, looking to see when someone comes in. Ruin over the wall. Crown still waiting in the wings. Here comes the re-engage yet again. A slow not going to land, but here comes the re-engage now for Ruin over the top. Here comes the Equalizer up there as well. Hako in the front line, taking a lot of damage. They're going to burn him down to start. Looking for the re-engage though, but Azonia's Hourglass keeps Crown safe for now. And once again, Immortals forced to run away. TP burn. They're going to go for the mid lane play. It's a bit of a base race attempt there for Immortals, and Soaz is so very tanky. Recall's coming through, but Xmithie flashes to stop one. Inhibitor is down, and they're going for the Nexus right away. And Immortals look to tie for second. The base is in shambles, and what a play for Immortals!
Can you believe it? Immortals pulling this one out on a brilliant call, TPing Ica over to join Altec. The full call to just interrupt the bases there. This time, this was what was supposed to happen when they made this call around the Elder, around that Soul Dragon. But no Baron buff recalls for CLG this time around. So Xmithie flashes in, gives his life to interrupt the teleport. Orin is interrupting as much as he could as far as the recalls go. And these two carries just knock down the Nexus.
What a play. Immortals end week 3 tied for second off of incredible late game shot calling here against CLG. If that game is solo queue, that's almost always going to Counter Logic Gaming there. But the Azir turret summoned in mid meant the wave instantly bounced, and they had the next one ready right away. And then they called Altec to run down. They TP'd in Ica. Just beautiful there. Truly, truly beautiful. Everyone played their part correctly, and it's a 4-2 squad.
I think what we've learned is the turrets do not get the Ocean Soul.
Nope. They don't reach that nearly enough.
You can take down the base, Freak.
They can get taken down so very fast. That does mean that Counter Logic Gaming are alone in last here. A valiant game from them. I don't think they're a terrible team, but they are 1-5 right now. They played Immortals close, which ends up being a second place team right now. I think there's light in that tunnel, though. I think CLG can definitely improve, but it is a slow start.
They can improve, but there's so much from this game that is going to be frustrating you, right? The fact that you had Baron buff, the fact that you had Ocean Soul, which is so strong, and you just misjudged your position on the map, right? They had been winning fight after fight after fight. They had been executing very well in a lot of ways, but CLG kind of threw this one away, and Immortals found an opening and made a brilliant call and punished them for that. But, you know, I've got to throw a little bit of kind of a question mark Crown's way. Like, I don't even understand how he had such low farm in this game. Yes, Ruin was playing heavily in the side lanes, but, you know, was the barrier the right call? If you want to play side lanes, if you want to try to do something else, maybe he needed teleport. We didn't see him actually flash forward and capitalize on what should have been a guaranteed first blood solo kill after Ica's mistake. And, you know, he's sitting at 245 CS, 3 items in a 40-plus minute game where people are, you know, multiple items ahead of him.
Yep. Well, as it stands, though, it is a loss for CLG and a well-deserved win for Immortals off that late game shot calling. And now for more on that win, patiently standing by for an interview with Xmithie.
Thank you so much, Xmithie. I literally stepped away from that game, get a drink of water, and then it's over. What on earth happened at the end of that game?
I think at the end it was just like pretty hectic for us, but Paul and like Ica like planned really well. Like the EU strategy of like backdooring, they planned it pretty well, and it was just kind of like a bad game to play because we were always on the back foot. But yeah, we had the EU strategy on us.
So is it them making the calls in that stage, or is it kind of a team effort? Like who's calling that play?
Well, I mean, specifically that play, like Paul said, there's like to keep pushing mid, and then we tried to stop as much as we can, and yeah, hopefully it paid out pretty well, I guess.
Yeah, of course, tie for second now, maybe not where people expected things to be, but let's take a step back now and just talk about what's it like for you on a new team?
Yeah, I always like being in like a new team atmosphere. I'm not new to like being in a new team. I've been like in quite a lot of teams actually. This team particularly is like we're more chill than maybe most of the teams I've been in, and it's pretty fun so far.
And then you mentioned, of course, your new European teammates, Ike and Soas. What's it been like playing with kind of a newer French player and then a veteran like yourself in the top lane?
Personality-wise, I think we get along really well. Everyone's just really funny and just crack jokes even in the game. But in game, I guess it's pretty new for us because we haven't really played against or with each other, so we don't really know how we play the game. And it's been like 3 weeks now, and I guess we're slowly and steady like trying to improve and trying to figure out our personality.
And then do you feel like now that you've had a few weeks, with the team, with everyone playing together, that things will get smoother from here? I mean, you're already tied for second. Do you feel like the momentum can continue for Immortals?
Yeah, hopefully. I think right now everyone's really happy that we went our first 2-0, and hopefully we go on for the next weeks.
Certainly so far so good. Smithy, thank you very much for the interview. We're going to throw it over now for the Bud Light Breakdown.
Thank you, Pastry. Welcome to the Bud Light Breakdown, where we wrap up our LCS week. And I'm mad because I had all these points ready about CLG. I said, this, and this is what happened. And then Smithy and the rest of Immortals took that, went to the Nexus, and said, boom.
Yeah, those last 30 seconds was a big game changer. Ruined pretty much everything.
Yeah, and I have to point out, I'm not sure who's calling what, but Smithy definitely had the highlight play in this sequence for me. Not going great for Immortals. They realized, yeah, probably not going to win this fight versus the Ocean Soul team, so they go for the backdoor play. And once they recognize, on CLG's side, once CLG recognizes, you'll see Rune start TPing back in the Pixel Brush to join. Smithy is going to go flash this wall and cocoon him to stop it from going. It happened just off the top of the screen, but that is why there's no one defending, is he stopped the TP from Rune from going through. And he did it, and he had to avoid the rumble. He flashed into the brush, saw the rumble, and kind of like shot it to the side.
Which is kind of goofy, because I was like, all right, Immortals win conditions got to be Smithy. I did say early game.
I guess you're right.
But, so this is a little bit, I'm half predicting, giving myself credit for it. It was Smithy who kind of closed it with that cocoon, but yeah, that call, I appreciate it a lot, because I think they realized, like, they have Ocean Soul, we can't really fight this right now. So they just threw bodies at them, and then they're like, Zai, you go push that mid lane, and we'll just keep them busy. So, very inventive win, but I don't know how you predicted anything like that.
That's how I saw it going down.
Yeah, that's exactly what you're thinking, right?
Oh, yeah, totally. And we are going to get into the predictions in just a second. We're looking at the standings as well of how things have shifted throughout the day. Because as we noted at the beginning of the day, Cloud9 still undefeated there at the top. But CLG now 1-5. And if you're looking back to, I'm thinking specifically to the 10 Thoughts series that Keen Lam writes, and he claims that this was a must-win week for CLG, and much earlier than you're usually going to be saying that about a team. How do you feel about that assessment?
I don't think I really agree, considering that the 1-5 team is one game back from 3 other teams. I think when a league is that clumped together in the bottom, you're not really out of playoffs yet. When there's so many games to play, you're one game back. But some of the names down there is insane to me.
You gotta remember, Team Liquid's one of those bottom teams. So if you're
they needed Smithy. It was all Smithy. He's 4-2.
It was all Smithy. But yeah, that's gonna be one of the teams that they have to start catching if they want to make into playoffs. So I assume Team Liquid's at the bottom right now. I think they're gonna be climbing.
Yeah.
That's a fair prediction I can actually get right this time. But
who knows?
Yeah, I think this was a must-win. But I think next week it's I don't think they have many chances to go 1-1 or 0-2 anymore.
And as far as the predictions go, well, I will say nobody here on the desk ended up getting the first portion of it right. But the second one, it was a bit split here. You did think that CLG was going to come through. As far as any of the positive things that they could maybe be bringing through into the next weeks.
Who thought that they were going to get backdoored? Come on, guys. All right, so Crown stepped up a little bit this game. I was a lot happier with him. I know we've seen a couple Rumble fumbles today with Mr. Jansen. But Crown was actually, performing really well in lane. He took barrier, so a little less aggressive than I would have liked. But He actually forced like Ika's flash by himself without his like jungle help or anything like that. So I like Crown's play in lane and out of lane. So that's a little glimmer of hope I like a lot.
I think overall they were more on the same page. There were still some fumbles even in the early mid game where people were going in after a fight was probably already over. But the fact that they are still staying proactive is really impressive to me after having some struggles through 3 weeks, that they're not, starting to get shy around making plays.
With our Monday Night League matches in the books, let's go ahead and take a look at what the LCS has in store for us as it returns on Saturday. Now we hopefully get the premiere of Broxa on Team Liquid as they face off against Immortals. That is the claim currently. And then we also have a very interesting match coming up between Cloud9 versus TSM. I may have to just kind of lock into that match because there's some very important things I think to consider if you look at TSM and Cloud9 maybe in week 1, as opposed to now looking at the matchup coming in week 4.
Yeah, I mean, I still think Cloud9 is going to be favored for this matchup, but TSM coming off of a 2-0 week like this, they're looking a lot better. So I'm kind of excited to see what it looks like. It's got to be at least a good game for sure. It's not going to be a stomp, I don't think, but I would still favor Cloud9.
I would hope it's not as much of a stomp because I do want to see some more competition against Cloud9 and people rising up to their level. But I think the Sven matchup is just the most interesting one because he's been doing so well. On the one hand, he wants to preserve his KDA to set the record.
Die once, though?
I don't know. I don't want him to. Want him to die? No. But it is really interesting that he gets to go up against his former team now.
And speaking of Sven, who was our MasterCard Player of the Week last week, it's time to reveal who our MasterCard Player of the Week is this week, in which we are honoring, what do you know, another C9 player in Blabber.
I mean, yeah, I don't think this is a big surprise. He had a lot of really big plays this weekend. Like, the most notable one is the one next to Herald.
Yeah.
We're going to see that in a bit.
It'll be in there hopefully somewhere. He's also dominating leaderboard stats just across the board for junglers. XP difference, gold difference, kill percentage, kill participation, as well as KDA. So he's been dominating. Somehow that play wasn't in that replay.
Yeah, actually, I'm kind of upset about that. But, I mean, I will give Blabber a lot of credit. I know before this split, a lot of people were thinking, like, he's kind of coin flip, and I would say in the past he was. But so far, it's been pretty solid. Like, he's gotten a lot smarter about the game. He's not doing these crazy plays. He's still playing very aggressive, though, so I think this is a pretty good time for him to shine.
Yeah.
And it's important to note for Cloud9, I feel like every single player has noted their individual play within their role. So we've already seen 2 be the MasterCard Player of the Week. Who's to say who the next one is going to be? If it'll be another Cloud9 person,
It's
maybe.
just going to be a Cloud9 collector on that shelf, and that's all we're going to see from now on.
We'll get some doubles up there.
Yeah. They have different poses, so it's not like spend 3 times. Like, I hope it's someone else.
Yeah, that's the thing. If it's just going to be everybody here, we had a lot of discussion about just similar height things going on and stuff.
We need to change it up a bit, but
yeah,
we'll get different poses, I'm sure.
I mean, that's what esports is known for, creative posing.
Yeah, this one?
yeah.
It's this one.
Oh, yes. Well, with all of that being said, we are going to be signing off over here, but make sure to go ahead and hop on over to twitch.tv/BudLight for the Bud Light League Lounge, where Avali and Riv will be joined by Golden Glue and Keith. I'm sure they're feeling pretty good after their victory here today. But for myself, the casters, and the entire LCS broadcast crew, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. For now, over in the Bud Light channel. Good night.